No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
You got it, buddy! Good job, Boo Bear!
Propeller tail.
It's a propeller tail. He doesn't usually do that.
Oh, now it's all wet.
Good job, Bubba! You got it, buddy! What a good Boo Bear! What a good Boo Bear! You're my beautiful baby, Bubba Bear. You're my beautiful baby. You gonna bring it all the way up? You gonna bring it all the way up here? Come on, all the way. All the way. What a good boy! What a good Boo Bear!
Take a piss. Time for another round. Oh, don't roll in that water. Other doggies pee over there.
Ready to go down to the next one? Ready to go down to the next one? Ooh-sha, sha, sha. Ooh-sha, sha, sha. Ooh-sha, sha, sha.
Careful, there is somebody fishing right down there by the next one. I think we're okay, yeah. Just gotta watch out for the fisher dude. How you doing, Boo? Huh? Good swim? Good swim? Yeah?
I got the ball.
Come on, you got a ball. Let's go.
I got the ball.
That did not look like...
Hello, my little ninjas. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News, and welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie, and I have a few videos ready for you this evening. I didn't want to overdo it. I know you guys are trying to get your weekend started, so I have, half a dozen or so videos here to watch. I have some nice fat dabs to take. Tonight is Dabs for Donations Friday, so you tuned in on a particularly special evening. On Fridays, what we do is you give a donation and I take a dab in your honor. How much more perfect can that be? Because I know a lot of you aren't able to get your own dabs and not able to, do this, or you want to smoke along with me. So this way I can say your name, and you and I can take a puff at the same time. Or if you can't take a puff, I can take one for you. How much more perfect does it get? There is a lot of pollen in the air today. I wasn't able to go outside. I didn't get the dogs a walk. I feel really, not good about that. But I can't go out in the pollen. If I go out in the pollen, I'm going to sneeze like 200 times a day. So I'm going to take the dogs out tonight after we finish the show, because the girl won't poop in the backyard. And girl likes to poopy. So I need to take her out, make sure she gets a poopy. And what else? Oh, and it's going to rain the next 2 days. So hopefully that'll knock a bunch of the pollen out of the trees and everywhere it is. It's fucking everywhere. Rufus likes to walk under every plant he can walk under, right? So those things that look like pine trees, only they grow really low and they like spread out. People use them for like on either side of their driveway or whatever. When he walks under one of those, it's like a puff of smoke, but it's pollen. It's like a puff of smoke goes every direction, just floating. I'm like, oh shit. And then he goes and lays on my bed. So I'm like, fuck. So he needs a bath. Long story short. So we'll have to get onto that this weekend. Also, I hope. Let's see. Okay, so I have a video about disrespecting police. I have a video about the Capitol Hill attack today, which seems very, very, very convenient to me for people who are desperate to get more fencing up, are desperate to keep the fencing that's already around the Capitol up. The people of these United States, my guess is, are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? This is the people's house. You look like a fucking banana republic, surrounding yourself with military and barbed wire fences. That's what the United States looks like right now. Okay, so I have a video about that, again, which seems very, very convenient. And I have a video about COVID passport because it is quickly becoming a reality. I have a video about occupying City Hall. It's really about a recall effort on a socialist city council member here in Seattle. But one of the scenes in that is where the council member brought in a bunch of protesters, like Seattle Chop protesters. You guys remember the Seattle Chop? You guys remember all summer long there was protesters in the streets of Seattle. She took a huge crowd of them into the city hall late at night when there's no one there. She opened up the doors, invited everyone in. And the reason I want to show this to you is because these people in Capitol Hill are like, oh my God, this has never happened before. This attack on our democracy. This, oh my God, this, insurgency. This, such bullshit, okay? This has happened. We've seen this happen at state capitol after state capitol after state capitol. And by the way, because of this this car who drove into, I don't know, a couple of Capitol Hill police officers today, supposedly. Because of that, there's now added security, added fencing being put up around our local Washington State, Olympia, house, the House of Representatives, the whatever it is, I can't think of the Capitol, right? The Olympia Capitol building is now being added security. So my guess is Capitol buildings across the country are now adding security, so that, again, this is one of those things where when you see this security being put in place before anything really happens, right? That seems like it's a preamble to something big happening, doesn't it? As if the people in charge kind of know something's coming this way and they want to be prepared for it. Do you know what it is that I am saying? Oh, what a nice tea. Okay, so since I haven't gotten any donations yet, and it is Dabs for Donations Friday, I'll tell you what, I'll do the first one myself. Because the first one's free. The first one's always free. So I'm ready for a bong hit. I haven't had a bong hit all fucking day. So I'm ready for a bong hit. And if any of you are ready for a bong hit, I would recommend that you follow me and do exactly as you see. And I'll be back momentarily. I play this little video for you so that you can see about the occupying City Hall. No, I want to play this one about opening day for Major League Baseball. Okay, because I think this is really interesting.
It's a day that will be remembered in Western Washington as the day fans finally came back to T-Mobile Park. No more cutouts. The Mariners are the first pro team in the Northwest to allow spectators back through the gates for a live game more than a year after COVID-19 locked them out. Q13's Frankie Thompson has that part of our coverage.
T-Mobile Park is hardly full, but fans are still filled with high energy and excitement for this opening night. Following COVID-19 protocols, each home game will host 9,000 fans in socially distanced pods of 1 to 6 people. The remaining seats that are closed will be closed off with zip ties to help maintain safe space.
We live and breathe baseball.
Seattle Mariners fans walk through the gates of T-Mobile Park for the first time in 550 days.
It's been long 19 months. I will never take baseball for granted again.
We've waited so long to see this, and it's just, we're home. We're back home.
Sharon Hunt and her friends waited outside the front gate since 10 a.m. in order to be one of the first inside.
Because this is what we do. This is what we do.
The game is still the same, but the rest looks and feels a bit different than what fans are used to. For starters, concessions are all prepackaged grab-and-go options through card or mobile payment only. Ticket holders say they'll take whatever they can get as long as they're in the stands.
But it'll be good to be just, to be in the crowd and being social, It's just been so antisocial for so long. It's good to be out and about with other people.
I said I'd go wear a hazmat suit in there if I had to, just to go inside. So if I have to wear a mask while I'm in there, I wear it at work for 8 hours a day, a few more, but I'll have more fun wearing it in there because I can scream and yell.
Restroom breaks are open for 20 people at a time, and plexiglass divides each sink to follow safety guidelines. Some fans say they don't plan to leave their seats since the crowd is already limited.
For the Mariners, they need a crowd. We need to get people back in the seats. It's been years, and we need to get a good team, and we need to get something going here.
At least being back to cheer on the home team is a good start to the season.
Up and screaming and yelling and high-fiving and go Mariners! We're here!
All ticket sales will be online this season to help reduce contact. Fans lucky enough to get a seat will have to wear their mask at all times except for when they're eating or drinking at their seat. Reporting in Seattle, Frankie Thompson, Q13 News.
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, so the reason that I wanted to play that video for you, the reason I thought that video, I'm not about sports. I think it's kind of a waste of time, especially professional sports. I don't get why those people get so paid so highly or why they're so hero worshipped. I really, really don't get it for 1 second. So, the opening of Major League Baseball doesn't really make a fuck of difference to me, but the opening of Major League Baseball during the time of a plague, when we're all gonna die, which is what they were telling us for the last year, we're all gonna die. Again, not being a sports person, I don't see how opening sports venues should be a priority during a time of plague, when we're all gonna fucking die, which we get told on a daily basis. Okay, I don't see how that's a priority. Maybe you guys can. Maybe you can call me and explain it to me. But, that seems like a pretty stupid priority to have during a time of plague, at least to me. I would think that, again, that we've been told over and over, we're going to die, we're going to die, we're going to die. Not we're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die. So, how is it now? Oh yeah, this, and it's not like anybody is going, is this really safe to open up the baseball thing? It's like, oh, look how safe we made it to open up baseball. Bullshit. It can't be both things. Either it's fucking dangerous to go out in public and hang out with other people, or it's not. It's not, oh, we're kind of medium danger now. Fuck you. They're lying to you. You should be very, very upset about it. Hold on, I'm going to do a puff. All right, Manny. Manny's on the phone. Hey, Manny, are you a baseball fan?
Not really, though, but I've seen baseball since 20 years. I mean, I used to live in the border, so I used to watch the baseball from Fox on the Saturday evenings or during the World Series.
Huh.
And I've seen it a little bit boring, though, but at the same time, it's entertainment, though.
Yeah.
It's pure entertainment. It's like the WWE. It's a sports entertainment.
I guess. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I've never been a sports person. I understand how all the games work. I don't see the attraction. I don't see how it's worth spending 4 hours of your day, sitting on your ass watching a stupid fucking fools get paid massive amounts of money for what? I just don't get it. Go ahead.
Well, me neither, though, until you go to an actual baseball game. I've been on games for the Anaheim Angels when they used to be the Anaheim Angels. Now it's Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah.
And the Marlins. No, not Marlins. The Mariners.
Yeah.
They're in Seattle, the T-Mobile Park. I actually won free tickets from work, like 2 years ago, to go and see the Mariners. Like the Seahawks games, I understand that they were reserving that for clients for sales pitchings. But nobody wants to see the Mariners, though, so they give me free tickets for the Mariners. So I invited my whole family.
Well,
and
the thing I
it was
like,
a nice entertaining game.
The thing I like about the Mariners, and the reason that I would go to a baseball game, is because it's nice. The Mariners Stadium is a very nice place to spend an afternoon. No matter where you sit, you kind of feel like you're kind of really close to the field, and there's, it's an easy kind of relaxing place to spend an afternoon. If you don't have anything better to do, you go and hang out there, and take your laptop, and it feels like you're outside enjoying the day. So I can see going to a game and hanging out, and like I said, I like the stadium, but I don't particularly care for sports at all.
Well, it's funny though, because when I went to the Mariners game, it was kind of drizzling, so the roof, they have a retractable roof. So they put the roof on. That was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
So it was actually kind of cool to see the roof moving. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's entertainment, not.
Right. This is exactly what I'm saying, though. It's entertainment at a time of plague when we're all gonna die, Manny. You called here in February telling us we're all gonna fucking die. Okay, so here we are in this time when we're all gonna fucking die, and the priority is to have entertainment open where we have, hundreds and thousands of people all fucking in the same space. That makes sense to you, Manny?
Well, it depends on the nuance, though, because if you're vaccinated, though, that kind of makes sense. As long as you keep your social distance, then everyone has.
And last night I played a video of a woman who was fully vaccinated, and she got COVID.
That's not good.
Yeah,
she might be rare. She may be a rare instance, but anyways, I mean, in theory, that's what it is. And I watch the WWE. I find it more entertaining than even American football. The more entertaining than the NFL. But that is just me most. Now, why you're right about how we treat athletes like they were like the heroes of the American Revolution or something like that, and we pay millions and millions of dollars. And the whole reason is because of supply and demand. Everyone wants to watch the game, so there's more advertising money coming in. So therefore, they have to increase the pay for the athletes to keep watching. And we're talking about multi-billion-dollar deals with TV networks. because at the end of the day, they make more money through advertising, though. So that's why it's kind of like a feedback loop, basically. The more advertising they have, the more money comes.
Look, I'm just talking about the time of plague, man. Okay, this was very, very important to you a little while ago, Manny. And now you're just getting lost in fucking entertainment and making money. You know, we were talking 6 months ago, like I said, last February, you're calling here saying everybody's going to die. And now it's like, oh, well, maybe they're vaccinated. You know, like, it's not a plague still going on, okay? I'm the one who said it's going to end by April, May. And nobody knows, oh, this stupid old stoner fucking dreaming again, living in dreamland. Yeah, just like the Trons, I'm living in fucking dreamland, okay? Figure it out. I know what the fuck I'm saying, okay? And this is a time of plague where every goddamn day for the last year, the only fucking news story was you're gonna die. Somebody's gonna breathe on you and you're gonna fucking die, okay? And now, oh, let's all go to the ballpark. Woo! That makes sense to you?
Well, it doesn't make sense because it has to be a slow, steady increase of herd immunization before we can go there, though.
Oh, you're talking about herd immunity? Is that right? Herd immunity? Don't you people get tired talking about you being talked about like you're a fucking cow? Herd immunity? Oh, yeah, let's reel in the herd and make sure they all get vaccinated because you're a bunch of fucking cow. Okay, that's again the way the fucking medical community sees you. The fucking government sees you, like you need to be herded.
The only other thing that I can think about is just literally just put everything safe, and open, and business like usual, though. And then we deal with the infection later on, or let every people on their own trying to deal with infection, though. But that's highly irresponsible, though, and I think there's going to be more problems than solving it, though. But again, everyone's different, Marks. And back to the point about baseball, though. Yeah, I kind of agree with you when it comes to the sentiment like that we put those people on a pedestal. I mean, last year, the only thing that proved last year is like, we don't need sports. As long as you have something busy to do, though. I think sports is for those people who don't have a purpose. They go to the bar and they get drunk.
It's for boring fucking people who can't make a conversation without someone else, without them having a fucking, you know, this thing that they can all, oh yeah, the Seahawks, oh yeah, they're great, oh yeah, do you see this guy in the Seahawks, do you see what that guy did? Otherwise, they can't have a conversation with somebody because, and they don't realize this, but that's why they're drawn to football. It's not because, yeah. You know, so we can all have this hive mind thing and we can all think alike and share this moment where, yeah, that guy was fucking amazing. Fuck.
I actually agree with you, and I've seen that on baseball a lot. When I was working in California, a lot of people keep talking about the Dodgers, keep talking about the Dodgers. And I feel like I was out of the loop all the time because I didn't follow the Dodgers, I only followed the Angels. But still, like the guys, especially Mel, that's the only thing they talk about. The Dodgers. Hey, I see what this guy from the Dodgers did? Oh, no, I think this guy's going to get suspended. Oh, no, he got so many RBIs and whatever. Like, what are you guys talking about? I have no idea what you guys are talking about. And it's always small talk, though. And then you see the guys like the Raiders fans who tattoo themselves on the arm, or like, they're like Raiders for life and stuff. Like, this whole pandemic, the only thing that it has proved to me, Max, is that there's other things to do, though. Sports is not as important as, I don't know, your life or any other things to do, like taking care of your family, doing your room.
This is what I'm saying. That's another reason why people use it is as an excuse not to do stuff. You know, that my football team is on. I got to go watch my football team when they know they should be doing other things.
Yeah, and quite frankly, this whole COVID thing and the Trump phenomenon, and you have to admit it, the Trump phenomenon brings something else, like a huge change in social consciousness. Is that there's a lot of things that we don't need. In fact, I don't even watch TV anymore, though. Like, a lot of the things that I watch on the news is from YouTube videos or YouTube clips, like the things that you post every once in a while. I don't need to watch Fox News or CNN 24/7 like I used to do like 10, 15 years ago when the whole Iraq war started. You don't need TV. People start watching cable. They start watching cable because, first of all, there's no sports, because sports was the only thing keeping cable alive before COVID. And now that there's no sports, so people just start streaming movies and series on Netflix. And some of those series, let's face it, they do have some good stories on it. But it's not as important, though. You cannot realize your priorities.
Well, the thing about watching movies or whatever, especially streaming movies, is that, you know, it's not on right now. Because with these football games, with the basketball, we got to watch it right when it's happening. Otherwise, you know, oh, I see clips and what's the point, you know. We got to watch it right now when everybody else is watching it. Again, this is hive mind thinking. As opposed to Netflix or Hulu or whatever, you know, streaming thing you might use, you go there at your convenience. You know, and it's not like, oh, we got to watch this with everybody else. It's after you take care of all the other things that are important to your day. Or when you need a break and all these things that you have to take care of. You know, it's not like, oh, it's on right now. Everybody stop everything. Let's go with this. You know, it's not the same thing.
That's the key word right there, Max. You just said it, convenience.
Yeah.
We live in a convenient society now. We don't need sports. We can watch sports like at 3 in the morning. We can watch the replay for the season at 3 in the morning, and nothing's going to happen. No? Maybe I knew the results, though. Maybe not.
No, but that's not the hive thinking, Manny. No, we all have to watch it right now. We all have to watch it at the same time. You know, what if somebody calls and I don't know what's going on? I need to be able to talk to them about what they're saying. I need to know what they're going to think.
I don't know, Max, but the only thing I can tell you for me is like sports lost all value after COVID. I agree in principle with your sentiment about why we're putting these people on a pedestal, why we're paying so much money. Obviously, there's an economic reason why they're paying so much money for that. Why are we giving tax breaks for gigantic stadiums? I mean, I've seen examples of like a Texas high school who has like a college or like a NFL level stadium for a high school, football team. But I mean, at the end of the day, you kind of realize this is me. Like, I don't need this. I think there are other important things for me to worry about.
You know, again, it's not something to worry about. I just don't see how it's something to think about. So yeah, you know, you're right. It's not something to worry about. It's not something to, you know, make it some kind of like, oh, we gotta, you know, get this into my life. It doesn't add anything to your life. In fact, it takes things away from your life. It takes time away from your life where you could actually be experiencing something instead of sitting in front of a computer screen or a television screen.
I mean, I'm in front of a computer screen right now, and you know what I'm doing right now? I'm working. I'm actually making money working.
Right. Well, you're not just doing that. You're being part of the conversation. You're participating in the live stream. Okay, so it's not just that you're here witnessing a live stream like you would on, you know, a football game or something. You know, you might be able to watch that on a live stream, but you're not actually able to call the commentators and say, "Hey, did you guys see that play? Wasn't that awesome?" You know, you're not able to be part of it, which is what I do here at Mox News, is give you all the opportunity to be part of what we're doing.
I agree.
I gotta take a break, man. It's good to hear from you.
Nice to hear from you.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon. I hope. Have a great weekend.
You too. Happy Easter.
Okay, same to you. And I'm gonna play this video about occupying City Hall that I was talking about because I want you to see that video because again, the people in Congress want to act like, oh my God, nothing like this has ever happened. Right? But it's not true. I've shown video. We've seen, I would think all of us have seen video of state capitol after state capitol being occupied, many times by armed people, which is not what happened at the U.S. Capitol. Many times by armed people. But what you find is that as long as there's not police attacking them, The people are incredibly peaceful. They walk into this, Capitol building, on January 6th, not the U.S. Capitol, but the state capitol. We saw in Michigan, the state capitol. Here in Seattle, we've seen it a couple times occupied. Lots and lots of places. This is not an unusual thing that never happens. And I have this video here that shows you the people of Seattle. Everybody's like, oh, Seattle's dying. Oh, the protesters are so horrible. This is the city hall being occupied by protesters. Again, in Seattle. They didn't graffiti anything. They didn't burn anything. They didn't rip anything down off the walls. Okay? Just like the protesters on January 6th at the U.S. Capitol. And it's still, these are the worst people in the world. They're domestic terrorists. That's what we're being told. We've been told that again and again. So I wanted to show you this video again because it shows the occupation of City Hall here in Seattle, where the protesters in City Hall. I mean, in Seattle, you know how they are. Got to burn down everything. Got to smash every window they can, right? That's not what you see happening. That's not what we saw happening over the summer when they did this.
The political future of one of our state's most controversial figures hangs in the balance.
The state Supreme Court ruled today that a recall can move forward against Seattle's Socialist City Councilwoman Kshama Sawant. Q13's Brandy Cruz has the details.
Sawant has been the driving force behind some of Seattle's most controversial policies, and now voters in her district will get to decide whether she stays or goes. The state's high court finding that Sawant can be recalled for multiple reasons, including using her key card, you'll remember this, to let protesters into City Hall, hundreds of them after hours last June, putting janitorial and security staff at risk for COVID. The court also finding a legal basis for arguments that Sawant used taxpayer resources to promote a Tax Amazon ballot initiative. And finally, the court found that Sawant led protesters to the home of Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan over the summer, knowing full well that Durkan's address is protected under a state program due to threats made against her dating back to her time as a United States attorney. So as for how all of this is going to proceed from here, here's the rundown, a little explainer for you on how recalls work. So the pro-recall campaign is going to have 180 days to collect around 10,000 signatures. These are signatures from voters in Sawant's district, specifically the 3rd district, which is in the Capitol Hill area. So depending on what happens, the outcome of those signatures and when they're submitted, the recall will go on the next available ballot, possibly as early as August. So once on the ballot, once an election happens, there are 2 outcomes. If voters choose to remove Sawant, the city council would then appoint a temporary replacement until the next general election when a permanent replacement is chosen. Or if voters decide that they want to keep Sawant in office, she gets to stay put and she can sure run again if she wants when her current term is up in 2023. Either way, things are going to get nasty moving forward. I can promise you that. We can expect a lot of money to be dumped into the pro and anti-recall campaigns. Meanwhile, Sawant is working very hard to convince voters that the recall effort against her is being pushed by the right wing, a narrative there is no evidence for, but nonetheless could resonate in her progressive district. Guys.
Well, Councilwoman Sawant plans to respond to the recall ruling in an 8:30 a.m. news conference tomorrow. In the meantime, she put out a statement in writing, in part saying they are searching for a do-over to not only our 2019 re-election, but also the historic victories spearheaded by our office.
And tonight we are hearing from the chairman of the Recall Sawant Committee, who had this to say.
We are publicly asking this Council President Gonzalez and City Council and Director Wayne Barnett at Seattle Ethics and Elections to open an investigations immediately on Councilmember Sawant and demand that Councilmember Sawant save the taxpayers' money and time with this recall and to resign immediately.
And again, we expect to hear from Sawant at a press conference tomorrow, and we'll update you here on Q13 News.
All right. So the guy right there with the white hair at the end who is talking about, who is like the creator of this recall project, that guy looks like a giant douchebag, number one. Number two, again, when he's talking about what it is he did, and at the end, right at the end of what he did, he got this fucking cheesy shit-eating grin, like, oh, look what I'm doing. So again, I don't see that as being, some kind of true statement about what's happening. It's just some fucked up person who says, we're going to take this person down. And they're going to get other fucked up people to get behind them because this is this herd mentality. You know, this thing that I'm talking about, this hive mentality. Like, oh, we all have to move the same direction. This is the problem with the two-party system, right? You know, you have this side or that side to choose from. That's the hive mind. Either you can go with this way, with this hive, or you can go with this hive. Your choice. And in giving you that choice, many people actually believe that they have a choice. But you don't. This hive is still a hive. This hive is still a hive. And this hive tells you what to think. And this hive tells you what to think. So, in my opinion, if you're joining either one, you're buying into the programming. The programming of fear and division and hate. Because although these people will try and convince you that they're not about hate, they're the opposite of that. That would be another lie. Because again, they want you at each other's necks. See, fear will almost always lead to hate, right? If you fear your neighbor, if you fear the person that's across the street, like Manny, who calls the cops on people who have the wrong complexion, then, you know, it leads to this other place where you start to despise those people. You start to think badly of those people. It's this fear thing. It's going to lead to hate. And they, again, how much fear do they want you to have? They want you to have so much fear that you believe when you go to the grocery store, if someone breathes on you, you might die. You might die. If that person over there walks too close to you and breathes on you, you might die. And that's the kind of fear that they want you to have. And that's why I'm talking about this whole opening of Major League Baseball. You know, all summer long there was massive protest. You know, if this is a reality, then how can the reopening of Major League Baseball be a priority in any way, shape, or form? You know, and the reason I'm saying that is because if the plague is as bad as they say the plague is, not only will at least a few people die from going to baseball games, but they will be, again, spreading it. They'll be spreading the plague because people are like coming in contact with other people. And this is what we've been told not to do, is that if that person breathes on you, you're going to die. And now it's all, oh, yay, we can go do our fun stuff again. Not that I don't want to do the fun stuff. I love the fun stuff. But I can't see as how that's the priority when a month ago we're all going to die. Even now, even now they're saying this. Oh, you need to get your vaccination. If you don't get your vaccination, you're one of the worst people on earth because you might kill somebody, not just yourself. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Mike, how are you doing tonight?
Okay, how about you?
I'm doing good. And I had a few things I wanted to talk about. I know you were just talking about the plague and fear, and that's an interesting subject to talk about. How was your day today? Did you go for a walk with the dog?
I couldn't go for a walk today. The pollen is too much for me right now. So I'll go for a walk tonight after we're done here.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely the cherry trees and the plum trees are in full bloom, and it's very beautiful if you like to look at flowers. Lots of flowers are out here in the Pacific Northwest, like tulips and bachelor's buttons and little flowers growing from the bulb.
I see all my neighbors' yards have little flowers growing in them.
Yeah. So there were a lot of things that happened today that I was kind of curious about. One of them was the shooting that occurred at the Capitol building, which has kind of dominated the news. When I go to CNN or New York Times, it's like the focal point of the news. And and it's very interesting because the person, his name is Noah Green, was a 25-year-old African American. He had a college degree, and his major was like in finance. He was a football player in college to pay his way through college. He was, he got a scholarship for playing football, and he writes in his post on the internet about how the economy is just fucked with his life in the last year. So he writes a lot of posts about how he's unemployed and he's frustrated and he's looking for jobs, and he's going through the grind, but then what I find interesting about all of this is, as I've been following it, is that all of his data that's on the internet has just been removed from the internet.
Huh.
So any kind of independent investigator that wants to do any work and say, who was this guy, what really happened, not the FBI, but just a normal Joe, like, Mike or Chris, wants to figure this out. Like, I'm going to do some research and stuff. Who the fuck is this character, right? I want to read this excerpt from CNN's article that for this afternoon that says, suspect in Capitol car attack posted about fears of FBI and CIA week before ramming police officer. This was posted this afternoon. And basically it says, quote, the Instagram and Facebook accounts were both taken offline Friday afternoon of this character, Noah Green. Quote, after the horrific event, our thoughts are with the Capitol Police and their loved ones, a Facebook company spokesman told CNN. We have designated the incident under our dangerous individuals and organizations policy, which means we have removed the suspect's account from Facebook and Instagram, and we are removing any content that praises, supports, or represents the attack or the suspect. We are in contact with law enforcement as they conduct their investigation. All right. Now that paragraph just jumped off the page at me, Mike.
Yeah.
Because it's basically saying Instagram and Facebook are removing any discussions on their platforms, either in praise of this person, describing who this person was by referencing quotes and referencing material that existed in his, his social media, whatever history people can find of him. They're not allowed to discuss it. They're not allowed to hypothesize or imagine what the fuck this person was doing.
Yeah.
He was a member of the Nation of Islam,
Yeah.
and in the last 30 days, he had posted a lot of posts about thinking that, Louis Farrakhan and Malcolm X had provided him with the spiritual, solidity that he needed to get on with his fucking program. And however you feel about that, it's fucking true. That's what the guy felt, right? So why shouldn't people be able to talk about that? Nation of Islam, so on and so forth. So I find the censorship that is just, I find it extremely, out of control, to the point where we're not even allowed to have discussion tonight. We can for a lot of reasons because of the platform that you and Craig provide, which is amazing. But what I'm saying is, for people who are just posting videos, they post a clip that says, Nation of Islam supporter lost it and ran his car into a barricade and was shot to death by cops. That video on YouTube might be censored. Any commentary about that video will be censored. Facebook is removing any post that talk about this cat by referencing anything that was posted previously on their platform, as is Instagram. So it's just gotten to the point where,
it sounds like to me that they're not just removing content, that they're telling the FBI about that content. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. They're doing both. They're saying we're going to shut the door to the public so that the public can't look at things and examine evidence themselves, and at the same time, we're going to give the evidence to the government so they can make a case against why this person was an asshole
or anyone else in the future who might have supported him.
That's correct. But interestingly enough, Dianne Feinstein came out and denounced him vocally this afternoon, as other prominent liberals who have been rallying about gun control and yada yada, right? They came out and denounced this character right away. But, you know, Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X, they play a huge role in the African American community that's kind of overlooked by the rest of us in our culture. Like, they do have a presence in our culture. And it's interesting that, like, they're attacking this man. And how are they going to attack him? Are they going to attack African Americans who are affiliated with Nation of Islam and accuse them of being domestic terrorists, put them on a watch list? So any mosque in America where African Americans go to is just going to be like doubly like enforced with FBI agents? Is that what's going to happen? I'm just kind of curious.
I mean, that's what happened after 9/11, right?
Yeah, all of the Muslim communities in the United States became heavily infiltrated by the FBI with personal informants, you know, tech surveillance, you know, their whole lives being sucked over, interference everywhere. That was a direct result of, like, America targeting Islamic communities. But I just found it interesting, like, are the Democrats going to pursue this as much as they pursue the white supremacist angle, right? Because we always, like the character who shot the sex workers in Georgia, right? He was accused of like acting out on anti-Asian hate kind of crap, right? That was what was projected in the media, anti-Asian hate crime or something like that, right? When in reality, it's like this guy was fucked in the head and had probably a lot of like Freudian sexual bullshit issues going on in his head. But the whole media took a week out of their schedule to emphasize like Asian hate crimes. Now that an African American has committed a crime by stabbing a U.S. cop at the federal building or at the Capitol building to death, and now is shot dead in this huge incident that shut the Capitol down, are they going to talk about black nationalism in the United States in the same way they talk about anti-Asian hate crimes? See what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. I do. I see this a lot, and I've been thinking about, you know, titling a show something along the lines of about hate crimes. But it's like you're saying, you know, if you have a real discussion about it, you're going to get censored.
Yeah, so I'm not an enemy of the Nation of Islam or anything. I'm not a religious person, by the way. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Muslim. You know, I toyed with Buddhism a little bit in my life, and you know, I have some qualms with it. So, but I mean, I believe people should have a good ethic and, you know, do the good thing. But I have qualms with all religion. So I'm not advocating for religion or anything. But people who are like members of Nation of Islam are no different than like white people who belong to Protestant churches. You know, like that kid who went into the church in Charleston, South Carolina, and shot those. You know,
well, it seems like they're a little more activist oriented than churchgoers.
Yeah, and I think they may actually have a more positive impact in communities than churchgoers.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, on the south side of Chicago, for example, you know, Nation of Islam is responsible for mentoring young kids, helping them understand how to run a business, helping them to develop like morals and ethics, and helping their parents, like just like a church, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think mainstream culture like CNN or ABC News or Fox News is going to understand that angle at all, or even discuss it. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of backlash there is against African American Muslims in the United States as a result of this incident that happened this afternoon.
I wondered about that earlier too.
Yeah, and you know, I want to note another thing here. Back in 2017, it was actually on my birthday, on June 14th, 2017. 5 people were shot, including a Republican congressman, at a charity baseball game. And this was a character, he was a white guy from like southern Illinois or Missouri, you know, right around in there, outside St. Louis. And he drove all the way from there to like Washington, D.C., and found out there was a baseball game with people like Rand Paul and these other Republican congressmen playing baseball for their practice baseball session. And then went there with a machine gun or whatever, an automatic rifle, and shot like 5 people, including putting a congressman in critical condition and shooting at representatives and senators of the Congress. You remember that?
Supposedly.
Okay, supposedly. Yeah, it could have been. That could have been a false flag. All right, I hear you. But I mean, it's interesting that the liberal, quote unquote, because I don't think that the media is liberal or conservative at all.
No.
The media is corporate media. It's corporate media. But the corporate media downplayed that story.
It's government media just as much as Iran or China.
Or the former Soviet Union.
Yeah, it's government media. It's not corporate, it's government.
Yeah. So another story it hasn't been in the news, Mike, is about, do you know who Angela Davis is?
Yeah, she's an actress, right?
She's an African-American intellectual who was part of, like, the civil rights movement in the late 60s and early 70s.
Wasn't she an actress also?
She might be an actress. She might have been performed in some films. But she has one of her lectures has been canceled at Butler University in Indianapolis. They canceled her event because political activist Angela Davis is pro boycott, divestment, sanctions of Israel. So she was scheduled to speak at an event at the college called Joint Struggle and Collective Liberation, and that was like on March 29th. It's canceled, unbeknownst to the people who organized the event by the college. And according to the college, it had something to do with her support for boycott, divestment, and sanctions of Israel that she was going. And this also happened to Abby Martin at a college in Georgia in the last few months, where she was scheduled to speak at one of the state colleges in Georgia, and then they said, no, you're not allowed to speak here. So this person, though, actually is like more of a mainstream person you're more likely to see on like Amy Goodman's Democracy Now! Or on CNN talking about civil rights. And it's just an example of how, Israel is allowed to censor speech whenever it wants to in the United States by accusing people of being anti-Semitic. Hate, which in their mind means hating Jews, right? Whenever everyone hears the word anti-Semitic, it's like, you hate Jews, right? Well, I don't think this lady, Angela Davis, hates Jews, but she certainly hates the Israeli government and has every right to speak at any college in the United States if she's invited there to speak about political events. So it's amazing.
I think it's imperative that people are allowed to speak out against governments. I mean, that's basic. That's the number one basic right we have. First Amendment. You can speak out against your government, and it's bullshit that, like you said, Israel has the ability to censor anyone, and if they aren't able to censor them, the immediate response is they're anti-Semitic, as you're saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, and they ignore the person's history and who they actually are and what they're saying. So this is an excerpt from Wikipedia's article about Angela Davis, and just bear with me for a moment. It says this. This is who this lady is. In 1970, guns belonging to Angela Davis were used in an armed takeover of a courtroom in Marin County, California, in which 4 people were killed. Prosecuted for 3 capital felonies, including conspiracy to murder, she was held in jail for over a year before being acquitted of all charges in 1972. She visited the Eastern Bloc countries in the 19th. This is kind of like CIA propaganda, Wikipedia. She visited the Eastern Bloc countries in the 70s and 80s, was twice the Communist Party's candidate for vice president. At this time, she also held the position of professor at ethnic studies at San Francisco State University. Much of her work focused on the abolition of prisons. And in 1997, she co-founded Critical Resistance, an organization working to abolish the prison industrial complex. In 1991, she admitted that dissolution of the Soviet Union was part of a faction of the Communist Party that broke away to establish the Sikhs USA, and she joined the Feminist Studies Department at University of California, Santa Cruz, where she became a department director before retiring in 2008. Okay, the reason I read that, Mike, is because I'm just letting folks know that this lady isn't some crackpot or anything. She's a professor for like 30 years at San Francisco State University. She's part of like Black Panther movement. She understands about radical movements in the United States. And she has every right to speak at a college as much as anyone else does. So what the fuck is it with Israel deciding that some people can and some people cannot speak? I find that bizarre. And I don't understand why other freedom-loving Americans...
It's not Israel deciding that. It's the people in charge of those places where they're speaking. Because Israel can say, hey, those people are anti-Semitic. Hey, you can't let those people talk. But it's not up to them. It's up to the people that are in charge of that place where they're speaking. I mean, I'm not saying not to blame Israel or the Israeli government in particular, but what I am saying is there's a buffer zone between there in which this person has a choice to say, no, everyone in this country has the right to speak, or completely deny their First Amendment rights. Again, as I keep saying, either you stand on the side of freedom or you stand on the police side of the police state, and there's pretty much no room for variation there.
I understand that, and the First Amendment is a really important thing. And if the administrators at Butler University in Indiana feel that, like, Angela Davis is such a threatening human being that they won't allow students or faculty to listen to her speak at their college, well, I mean, that should say something to anybody who wants to go to that college. By the way, Mike, I was offered a scholarship at that college in Indianapolis, Indiana, when I was a kid. So I'm a little bit familiar with it. But it's just fucked up that, like, what you said is right. It's the administrators of these colleges and of these organizations and corporations that end up, like, deciding, you know, what is and what isn't. And that isn't right. It's not fair to the right. It's not fair to the left. It's just not fair to discourse. And it, like the COVID-19 thing, if people are questioning the COVID-19 narrative and their scientists...
It's not just that it's not right, it's unconstitutional. And I hope that she gets a lawyer and sues the fuck out of those people. Because it's completely unconstitutional. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, Abby Martin in Georgia, I believe, has filed a lawsuit against the state of Georgia for the same bullshit, right? She was going to give a speech.
Yeah.
She got some money. She was invited to give a speech, and then they reneged based on, like, some crazy fucking law in Georgia that says you're not allowed to give a speech against the state of Israel or you hate Jews. You know, something crazy like that. And that's kind of like where it's getting at. So I'm really curious how they're going to play off this, like, African-American Muslim who felt that Malcolm X and, who really loved the fucking African-American vote. And the last thing they want to do is alienate any African-American voters. So I'm curious how they're going to play that out. There was one other thing, Mike. I saw an article today about ending the insanity of military spending during a global health emergency. Talking about COVID.
Yeah.
But this article does talk about, like, how much money the world wastes on war. And it's posted at Dissident Voice. But here's a couple of points. It says, considering what a fraction of military budgets could achieve if that public money was diverted to real human needs instead of sustaining the corrupt and profitable industry of war. Okay, 1, meeting goals 1 and 2 of the Sustainable Development Goals, which are ending poverty in all of its forms everywhere on Earth, zero hunger, would barely exceed 3% of the global annual military spending, according to the UN's Undersecretary General and High Representative for Disarmament Affairs. With the U.S. military budget of $750 billion in 2020, it could feed the world hungry and still spend twice as much money on its military than China, writes Medea Benjamin of Code Pink. Also, the annual nuclear weapons budget worldwide is 1,000%, or 10 times the combined budget of the United Nations and World Health Organization, who are, like, responsible for disease and caring for people who are starving to death, according to the Global Campaign on Military Spending. And just 0.04% of global military spending would have funded the WHO's COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund, according to Tipping Point North-South. So even if you believe the COVID-19 experiment, 0.1% would have paid for everything. That's how much we waste on weapons. Also, it would only be 0.7% of global military spending to vaccinate all of the world's 7.8 billion inhabitants. Again, I'm not an advocate for the COVID vaccine at all, But the point the article is making is that there's a huge amount of money being wasted on the military, and we shut the economy down and freak out when we have all of this wasted money that we're spending every single day for bullets and cruise missiles and Boeing bombers and all of that crap.
The helmet to fly an F-35 jet cost $275,000 for the helmet.
Yeah. How many people could eat in Seattle tonight? For how many days could the homeless in Seattle eat for $275,000?
For the cost of one helmet.
Yeah. Even if it was just a couple of weeks, like $275,000 would feed the people of the homeless of Seattle for like 2 weeks. Isn't that worth more than a fucking piece of shit helmet that some asshole is going to wear in his head as he murders people somewhere in the world? Of course it is. It's a waste of money. Those were a few stories I wanted to share today. But the one from CNN does kind of piss me off. It's talking about how these social media companies are determining who can and can't see the Facebook or Instagram account of this person, Noah Green, who's accused of committing this crime. Honestly, why is the general public what's so scary in this guy's Facebook account that we can't read it? What's so spooky that the fucking anyone else can't read his Instagram account? And we can't come to our own conclusions, but that the information has to be hidden from us.
Has to be controlled. It has to be controlled, and it has to be, slanted the way we say.
Yeah, nobody else is allowed to interpret that information except for the fucking FBI. And one of the things that, CNN was saying is this guy was freaked out about the FBI and the CIA. And, they were told that was one of the things he was aware of. So why are we supposed to trust their interpretation of the data? Why can't we all just look at the information and come to our own conclusions? Because that's too threatening to these people in power. They don't want the American public to think. They want to censor what they're allowed to see and tell them what they're supposed to do. And that's really what a fascist government does. All of the bullshit that, Nazi this, Hitler that, blah, blah, blah. We always talk about that as the worst thing in all time and so on. Our government isn't that far off the mark. They don't tell us the truth. They tell us what to fucking think. They hate life. They love war. And they're into fucking control. I mean, the government and the corporations, because they're kind of the same thing at this point in time. And I don't understand why Americans can't figure that out. You know what I'm saying, Mike?
I think that they kind of are figuring that out. I think that's partially why so many Americans don't vote, or don't even, want anything to do with voting. I think it's it's just they don't want to be part. It just makes you feel dirty when you're part of that. It makes you feel kind of responsible if you vote for Dick Cheney or whoever these fucking cunts are. It doesn't matter who they are. If you vote for them and then the drone king fucking murders a bunch of children, it's kind of like that blood's all over your hands because you're the one who put this guy in power,
But they don't ever talk about that blood on their hands, It's just like, oh, well, they just kind of dismiss it. I mean, either side, by the way. Again, we talked about this the other day, but George Bush in the Iraq War. Not too many Republicans actually admit that they have blood on their hands, from the actions.
It's not just Republicans. It's not just
I know.
Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton. They helped push that war through. Those people could have stand up and said, yellow cake and fucking aluminum tubes? Are you fucking kidding me? And instead they stood there and said, yellow cake uranium and aluminum tubes. This person is a giant danger to us. We have to do something now. That's who Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton were, helping George Bush and Dick Cheney.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. There were 12 or 13 senators who voted no. And one of them was that guy, Paul Wellstone, who died in an airplane crash, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there weren't very many people in the Senate who stood up and said no at all.
And they all had the ability to. They all had, and they could have done it anytime. They could have done it after we found out that it was all based on a lie. Not that we didn't know that at the beginning.
Barack Obama could have ended the whole show in 2009 when he came into office, he could have just said, fuck this, we're out of here.
Knowing
Look,
full
here's the
well
money,
that it
good
was
luck
all
to you."
based on lies. Knowing full well,
Yeah, and could
and
have
instead
admitted
he'd
that,
chosen to
admitted
keep
that.
it going to the point of him being named the Drone King. And his term as presidency being considered the third and fourth term of George W. Bush, the most liberal president of all time. The third and fourth term of George W. Bush. Yeah, that sounds right to me. What kind of fucking programming are we getting here?
I don't know, man. I know some people like Chris Hedges, who's a writer that I follow. He claims, and others of his ilk claim that, like, Richard Nixon was the last, like, liberal president that we had in the United States. He normalized relations with China. He ended the draft. There's a couple things he did, like clean water, clean air. He was pressured by environmentalists. He fucking basically ended the Vietnam. Whatever. I'm not a fan of Richard Nixon, by the way. Don't get me wrong. But, like, the point here is that all of our presidents in the last 50 years have basically been crooks and liars and manipulate the media. Ronald Reagan, George Bush the father, Bill Clinton, George Bush the son, Barack Obama. All of these people are fucking bought and sold by the deep state. That's not crazy thinking either. Like, it's for real. Like, the CIA and the NSA, they have some kind of control over what happens in the real political world. And Ronald Reagan, the hostages being released at the very same day he became president. I watched this YouTube documentary about this recently, and the Iranians held the hostages until 1 hour after Ronald Reagan became president to say "fuck you" to Jimmy Carter. So they would not be released on his watch, period. They were so pissed off at him for what he had done. And anyway, I'm just saying that the whole program is like pro-empire. That's part of the job description. And that's why Joe Biden bombed those people in Syria and Iraq and killed 22 Iraqis just, a month ago. The reason he did that was because he had to have his bona fides. He had to say to bona fides, he had to say to his boss, I got the stuff that I can do it. I'm not a fucking mensch. I can barely fucking read. I can't walk up a flight of stairs. I don't have any goddamn memory. But I'll tell you, I know how to tell somebody to bomb people in Iraq because it's part of my fucking job description.
Yeah.
He understands that. His core instinct as a politician, a senator from Delaware or whatever. He's a crook.
To say the least, yeah.
All right, I'm going to let you go and listen to other callers.
All right.
I know it's Dabs for Friday, and I can't make a donation, but I will smoke a bowl with you.
Right on.
Next time you smoke a dab.
Right on.
And I always appreciate your program and even the calls, including the call from Manny earlier tonight.
Yeah.
So I look forward to future calls. And
I have a big dab coming up for Jake in just a minute. And, hey, do you have Craig's phone number?
I do.
You should call Craig. He wants to talk to you about something.
I know. I will talk to Craig. Thanks, Mike. And have a good night. And
okay. Well, thanks for calling, Chris. It's always better when you're here, and I mean that.
Yeah. Okay. Peace to you, Mike. Peace.
Okay. See ya. And I have a fat dab coming up for Jake momentarily, but first I want to play this video for you about the Capitol Hill attack today, so that we all know. Not that you guys don't know. I mean, it's all that's been talked about all day long on any of the mainstream media channels. But I thought that I would play it just so that you kind of see. There's some of the information Chris was talking about, some of the stuff I'm talking about. So I'm going to play that for you now. I'm going to heat up my tea, and I'll be right back with a big fat dab for Jake.
We begin with breaking news from Washington, D.C., where the U.S. Capitol is again the scene of a major security incident. Police say a car rammed a barricade outside the Capitol, killing one officer and injuring another. The area was put on alert after supporters of former President Donald Trump rioted on January 6th. But more recently, officials had begun scaling back barriers put up afterwards, citing a reduced security threat. And the U.S. Capitol Police gave this press conference with more details of what happened.
At approximately 1:02 hours this afternoon, a suspect entered what we refer to as the north barricade of the Capitol. The suspect rammed his car into two of our officers and then hit the north barricade barrier. At such time, the suspect exited the vehicle with a knife in hand. Our officers then engaged that suspect. He did not respond to verbal commands. The suspect did start lunging toward U.S. Capitol Police officers, at which time U.S. Capitol Police officers fired upon the suspect. At this time, the suspect has been pronounced deceased. Two U.S. Capitol Police officers were transported to two different hospitals, and it is with a very, very heavy heart that I announce one of our officers has succumbed to his injuries.
The U.S. Capitol Police giving a statement there. And for more, we're going to cross now to our Washington Bureau Chief, Inez Pohl. Inez, what else can you tell us about this incident?
Yeah, you know, I was there when the this press conference took place, and it was very obviously what of a shock this came. Also to the police, you know, they're still mourning the loss of colleagues during this storming of the Capitol in January 6th. But, you know, it's not only the police, obviously, who is shocked. Whole Washington is in shock, because this is just the beginning of a beautiful spring Easter weekend. The flowers are out. The people just wanted, to have some relief from all this hard time they went through over the last month. So this, you can feel it. I rode my bike through the city up here to the hill to report for Deutsche Welle here in front of the Capitol, and you can feel it that Washington is in shock.
Absolutely, and our viewers are seeing pictures of what should have been a normal, peaceful, beautiful, sunny day. But Inez, can you give us a sense of just how close the suspect actually got to the Capitol building for somebody who maybe does not know the layout of Washington, D.C.?
Right, so he came really close. It's only a couple of hundred yards before the Capitol building where these barricades are positioned and where the car got stopped. It is, to be honest, quite surprising how close vehicles can already get again. January 6th is not so far away, or it's not so long over. So this will be probably a question we will hear a lot over the next days. Why is it possible that a car can come so close to the Capitol building after what we have seen on January 6th? And let me talk a little bit about Washington anyhow. I'm sure that many of our international audience has visited the city or saw movies or TV shows about Washington. It has been the beauty of the capital of the United States that you could really come very close to the government building. There was only a fairly small fence guarding the White House until a couple of months ago. You could go there, take pictures. The same is true here for the Capitol building. There was no fence whatsoever. You actually could talk to high-end politicians walking in and out, taking a lunch break in the sun. And this has dramatically changed after the insurrection of January 6th. And therefore many Washington residents really wanted the fence to be brought down again, because they wanted to go back to their normal kind of relaxed life. And, well, I'm pretty sure this won't happen soon again after what we're experiencing right now.
Absolutely. That is the promise of American democracy, that anyone could walk up to their lawmakers in the halls of Congress and take their interests and pleas to the nation's lawmakers. I mean, that is, as you say, one of the questions that's going to be asked is how could something like this happen after the tightening of security measures that followed the storming of the Capitol by a mob of armed insurrectionists in January? I mean, was the response here at least faster, relatively speaking?
Much so. I mean, there are still federal agents based in Washington, more than 2,000 around after January 6th. During the inauguration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, it was more than 15,000, so it has been reduced. But as I'm standing here, I see federal agents passing by, but the response was very, very fast here because, I mean, the Capitol Police, obviously.
Okay, enough of that. All right, so Capitol Hill under attack. Remember, this word attack is very, very important. It's the reason that we have to have this fence. It's the reason we have to have all this security in place. We've been attacked twice in just the last few months. That was for Jake. Thanks so much, Jake. It's Dabs for Donations Friday. The idea being, let's see how fucked up we can get Mike. You give a donation, I take a dab in your honor. How much more perfect can life get than that? Usually, about my third or fourth puff, I start to get a little fucked up. So, if you'd like to see that, we're on dab number 2 so far. 1 donation, 2 dabs. The first dab was free. Because I needed a dab. I hadn't had a dab all day long. I was like, fuck, I gotta have a dab. And I'm feeling much better now. So, in case anybody's interested. So, let's see. I have a few more videos. I wanted you to see this Capitol Hill attack video because, again, this word attack is very, very important. It's we're just going to hear more and more about how we need heightened security on Capitol Hill. And again, the more security, the more military, the more razor wire fence around the White House, around Capitol Hill, the Senate, the House of Representatives, the People's House. The more military, the more razor wire fence, the less it looks like the United States. The more it looks like a banana republic. And if you think that this is what the U.S. military is for, is to stand up against the U.S. people, which again, they have thousands and thousands and thousands of National Guard troops there surrounding the Capitol building, the House of Representatives, the Senate, the White House, thousands and thousands of National Guard units. And they don't want them to go anywhere. They want them to stay there permanently. So it's very, very convenient for them to have another attack. So all I'm saying is it's good to recognize these words, because these are really powerful words. We've been attacked. Nobody on Capitol Hill has been attacked. Okay? They are the most cushy, live motherfuckers you can imagine. They're getting everything given to them on a motherfucking silver platter, if not a gold one. So they're not being attacked by anybody, anywhere. All right? The last thing that we should worry about is their security. Because the last thing they're ever going to worry about is your security. So, and we have to pay for their security, and we have to pay for our security. So, again, the last thing you should ever worry about, and also with this COVID relief bill, I guarantee you they're getting so much money. Every sitting politician, probably in the entire United States, is getting tons and tons of money for security. Just like Kanye West is getting millions and millions of dollars. I'm sorry, billionaire Kanye West is getting millions and millions of dollars from this COVID relief bill for his security? Why would a billionaire need money from the good tax-paying people of the United States? Right? Why would a billionaire need that? Why do any of these fucking cunt billionaires need money from the people of the United States? Why does the Congress have to give any of them a fucking break at all on anything? Why should they get the slightest little break? They already have everything you can dream of. And everyone that they come across bowing down to them. Oh, you're the most incredible person ever. I'll tell you something. Okay, I know a billionaire. I've talked to him about him before. And he actually was on my TV show when I did public access television. He wasn't on the show, but he used to like to come and film because it was interesting. He used to like come and work the video camera. And he's a billionaire, Amazon billionaire. He's invited us to his home for parties. He's invited me to his home for pizza. And I told you, when this film V for Vendetta came out, he called me right away and said, you have to see this film. And I was like, okay. And right before the film, he said, what did he say? He said, I only have one rule. He said, no talking during the movie. Okay. And at one point, you know, there's a close-up of John Huston's face, right? I mean, a close-up. And I'm like, oh my God, look at his pupils. They're like black basketballs. And he looks at me and says, what did I say? Like, but my point being, everybody bows down to these people, right? Everybody's like, oh my God, you know, anything you want, sir. This guy who helped out on the show a couple times, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I'm not sure exactly how many. I put him in the credits of my show, again, a Seattle billionaire, as Bitch Boy Scotty. Many, 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 many times. And probably 50 or 60 times. And it was because I got mad at him about something. But that was way before he invited me to pizza, way before he invited me to the movies, way before he invited me to parties at his house, where I'm pretty sure Jeff Bezos was at least at one of them. Again, this is an Amazon billionaire. The real hoi polloi of Seattle. But again, I don't begin to bow down to people like this, even when I know them well, you know, because I kind of despise you, not because I don't have what you have, but because you could do so much good with it. And what I see in billionaires is they won't help anyone unless they're going to make money. I mean, this guy would come and film at my show for free, but that's how boring a life some of these billionaires have, right? He wants to come to the public access TV station and film my live show. But everybody was talking about it. It was kind of exciting for a minute there. Unlike his parties. Although he had a pajama party one time, and at one point I had at first, when we first got there, right, I'm all dressed up in this flowing silk robe. I have a lei of marijuana leaves on, and I walk into the party, I walk around the corner, and this person's little woman wearing glasses walks up to me and says, "Excuse me, do you belong here?" I said, "Why don't you fucking go ask Scott?" So, but anyways, at the pajama party, at a certain point during the party, this little Playboy bunny came up to me in her pajamas and sat on my lap for about 30 minutes. And I really enjoyed that part of the party, of that in particular party. The rest of them were all just pretty boring. At least that few minutes were kind of like, yeah, I could get used to this. But it's not like I haven't had a Playboy bunny sit on my lap before. I mean, like, sit, play bouncy, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying this because these people get everything. They get handed everything. They already have everything. And then you have everyone bowing down to them. And then you have the fucking cunts in Congress acting like they need to be given every break in the world. They've already been given every fucking break in the world, but we need to give them more breaks. They're already, everywhere they go, people are bowing down to, what can I get for you? What can I do? What can I do, sir? You know, everything they could possibly hope for. But Congress has to give them even more, right? And then they shit on you. Right? They act like you're potential domestic terrorists, so we have to spy on you. We have to take every picture your 12-year-old daughter takes with her cell phone, regardless if she sends it to anyone or not. We have to capture those pictures and put them in a file with her name on it. Why? Because your 12-year-old daughter is a potential domestic terrorist. But if she had $1 billion, of course she wouldn't be. Because those people only make good things happen in the world, right? Let's see. Bong hit for Jake. It is Dabs for Donations Friday. Did I mention that? Holy camole! Look at that. Mr. Miguel. Mr. Miguel, thank you so much. I will take a dab in your honor momentarily. That's very nice of you. Again, this is how it works, people. You give a donation, and I do a dab in your honor. Because isn't that the way life is meant to be? Because it's fun to watch the stoner hippie get high, isn't it? Isn't that fun? I'm just trying. Manny thinks baseball is entertaining. Let's see how high we can get this stoner hippie. Doesn't that sound better than baseball? Huh? I'm just saying. Thanks for the donation, Mr. Miguel. I will get to Big Fat Dab for you momentarily. Let's see, and, let's see. So if you'd like to participate in Dabs for Donation Friday, it's easy to do. There's clickable links in the text body of this video. There's also clickable links in the chat, and you can also go to moxnews.com. It's very easy to make a donation. Should take you less than 2 minutes. And it's Dabs for Donation Friday. So if you give a donation, I will take a big fat dab in your honor, which I have to load one up for Mr. Miguel. So I'm thinking about playing a video for you about, I want to play a video for you about Matt Gaetz, Congressman Matt Gaetz. And I think that, again, the way this is being done, again, with everyone talking about it, everyone acting like, you know, they've already judged him. He's already been, you know, found guilty. You know, this is the, you know, what I'm trying to say is, you know, Matt Gaetz is being treated like he's some kind of pedophile who drugs girls and then bangs them and then shows videos and photos to everybody of them, right? Meanwhile, Dick Cheney and George Bush lied us into a war that cost us trillions of dollars, and how many thousands of lives from our brothers and sisters, our mothers and fathers, our sons and daughters. How many thousands of them did he kill with a war that they based on lies that came directly out of the White House, directly out of the Pentagon? We all know they were lies. We all know we were lied into a war in Iraq. We all know it was for the sole purpose of making George Bush and Dick Cheney, more rich than they could ever dream. Because it's all lies. And in the process, they murdered 1 million innocent Iraqis. 1 million innocent Iraqis who did nothing. and they lied about why they had to murder them. And they did it so brutally. And they did it in your name with your tax dollars. But oh my God, Matt Gaetz is the worst person that ever lived on the planet. Guilty, guilty, guilty. And what they're talking about Matt Gaetz, I'm sure is pretty common in Congress. Again, guilty, guilty, guilty. But he's the sacrificial lamb. And again, George W. Bush murdered with the help of Dick Cheney, well, actually Dick Cheney and George W. Bush and a whole bunch of other people, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden was in the Senate then. Again, these people could have spoke out and stopped it. But I think they saw an opportunity to profit too. But they murdered 1 million innocent Iraqis. How many children do you think that was? Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't just all men carrying rifles. 1 million innocent, even if it was all men carrying rifles, which I know it wasn't, and so do you. But if it was, they still would have been innocent Iraqis who didn't do a fucking thing to the United States, who didn't threaten the United States in any fucking way. Saddam was like, I surrender, I surrender. That wasn't in the news. They murdered 1 million innocent people, at least, in your name. But Matt Gaetz is the most evil person we ever met on the face of the planet. You get what I'm saying? So it looks like a hit, as Matt is saying, and I'm not on this guy's side, because it's really hard for me to believe that somebody who looks as much like Beavis as much like Butthead. He looks like Butthead from Beavis and Butthead. Anybody that looks as much like Butthead as Matt Gaetz does, I can't figure out how you scorn it all. I guess he just says, I'm a congressman, baby. You want to get on this? And if you don't think he looks like Butthead from Beavis and Butthead, I think you should type in Matt Gaetz and Butthead. And then tell me how he doesn't look like him. Not that I mean to put down Butthead. Butthead was actually cool. Matt Gaetz seems like a scumbag. Regardless of what it is he's doing, he just kind of... he's just another fucking politician who doesn't give a damn about any of us. That's the hard part.
Stunning developments this morning in the growing and frankly sleazy scandal surrounding Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz. Sources telling CNN he showed nude photos and videos of women he allegedly slept with to fellow lawmakers under the Capitol dome. CNN's Lauren Fox live on Capitol Hill with the latest.
Well, John, it's very important to clarify here that this is separate from that ongoing Department of Justice investigation into whether or not Matt Gaetz had a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old. These issues stem from just his time in Congress, and there's nothing from our reporting that revealed anything that he had allegedly done here is illegal. But I do want to underscore, because I think it speaks to his reputation on Capitol Hill. There were 3 sources who told CNN that Gaetz had a reputation for bragging about his sexual exploits with women. And these sources said that Gaetz would show images of women he said he had slept with to his colleagues. 2 of the sources that CNN spoke with had seen these images directly. And one of these interactions, a source said, happened on the House floor. Now, another source told CNN that this interaction happened just off of the House floor, but still at the U.S. Capitol. And that image was of a woman and a hula hoop. Now, these nude images were something that these lawmakers, said that they were disturbed by. They were surprised that they were being shown these images. But I just want to underscore here that this is separate from that ongoing DOJ investigation. And there is no indication that these images were of minors. I think that's another important thing to underscore here. This was merely lawmakers talking about the fact that, this was a reputation that Gaetz had on Capitol Hill. Again, 3 sources telling CNN that he had a reputation for bragging about his sexual exploits with women he said he had slept with. John?
I'll take it, Lauren. Thank you very much for all of that. Really appreciate that reporting. And all of that is just one sordid aspect of this story. There are also major developments in the Justice Department investigation into Congressman Gaetz. Sources tell CNN that federal investigators are looking into whether cash, drugs, and campaign funds were used to pay for the travel and expenses of the young women the congressman was allegedly having sex with. Joining us now, CNN political analyst Margaret Talev. She's a managing editor at Axios, and CNN legal analyst Ellie Honig. He's a former state and federal prosecutor. Ellie, it doesn't get any more tawdry than these allegations, okay? I mean, it just gets worse. Every day we find out more about what the DOJ is looking into. But can you just break it down for us in simple terms? What is Congressman Gates being accused of here?
Yeah. First of all, Allison, I just have to say, wow. I mean, when a new case comes into a prosecutor's office, a supervisor has to decide which unit am I going to assign this to. I don't even know where this one would go. It could go to the child protection unit. It could go to the narcotics unit. It could go to the corruption and campaign finance unit. As much as Matt Gaetz has turned himself into this clownish figure, I do want to stress, first of all, there's a lot of facts we still need to know. Second of all, these are very serious charges. For example, the most serious charge here is the allegation that he transported young women, young girls, across state lines for sexual purposes. If that is proved, he is looking at a 10-year mandatory minimum sentence, and there's no parole in the federal system. So we're talking about very serious charges here. Let's see how the investigation plays out. But Matt Gaetz is in a very, very difficult position right now.
And very quickly, it is young women. I mean, it's 17. It's not young girls. It's young women, as far as we know. 17 is the youngest that we've heard. Just want to get that out there.
Margaret, I want to talk about the politics of all this because, look, Congressman Gaetz has an outsized reputation for a congressman elected in 2016. He was one of ex-President Trump's most public defenders. Yet he seems to be pretty isolated within the Republican conference. I want to give you two examples of that. One, in 2017, this is a little bit stunning and perhaps foreshadowing, Mr. Gaetz was the only member of Congress to vote against a law that gave the federal government more power and money to fight human trafficking. The second thing has to do with the current alignment of people rushing to his defense, which seems to be isolated to Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jim Jordan. What does this say about the way Matt Gaetz is actually regarded by his Republican colleagues?
Perspective. And obviously the criminal investigation at this point is a much more serious matter.
So the real question is, do you think any of those people on the screen right there are innocent enough to actually act outraged about what Matt Gaetz supposedly did? I mean, I'm just wondering, do you think any of those people on the screen there are innocent enough? Because in my opinion, and I would bet money on this, the majority of them have been war propagandists, in which has helped murder little children so that they could make a profit. You know, Matt Gaetz is the worst person in the world, right? Obama, the drone king, how many little children did he murder, right? But Matt Gaetz is the worst person in the world. He's showing naked pictures of women. He's using drugs, right? He's using drugs and screwing girls. Yeah, nobody ever did that before, did they? How about we murdered a million innocent Iraqis? Joe Biden, Dick Cheney, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and George W. Bush. They murdered a million innocent Iraqis. But Matt Gaetz, we got, this one's for you, Mr. Miguel. Thank you again. 13 being an excellent stoner number. And if anybody else wants to get on the game, the links are all there. My tongue is numb. Is your tongue numb? I think I'm freaking out, dude. My tongue is all numb. Relax. Relax. Everything's good. Go to your happy place. All right. That's dab number 3. And it nearly killed me. Thanks, Mr. Miguel. So, who's next? Dabs for Donations Friday, everybody. Let's see how stoned we can get the hippie stoner. Why not? Sounds like a fun game to me, doesn't it? Sounds just like how things should be. So, I was saying, these people, I'm not trying to say anything positive about Matt Gaetz. What I'm saying is, they turn to people like George W. Bush, right? And Barack Obama, who murdered 1 million innocent Iraqis, and they're like, oh yes, you should all get a vaccine. I mean, does a vaccine make you forget that they murdered 1 million innocent Iraqis? Or, because I don't think that I would take advice from somebody who's that kind of a fucking disgusting human being. But oh yeah, you all look, all the presidents are here. All the disgusting fucking cunt presidents are here. All the murdering, in your name, disgusting fucking cunt presidents are here. And we're all here to say, get your vaccine, because that's what good people do. And you can rely on us. It's not like we murdered 1 million innocent people or sent tens of thousands of Americans off to their deaths. It's not, it's not like that at all. Or like, because of our actions, 22, 23 veterans a day are killing themselves. That has nothing to do with us. All we're saying is, you want to take advice from really good people like us, so you better get down and get your vaccine. I mean, and am I the only one who thinks about shit like this? Because am I the only one who sees these people like this? Because anyone who's putting them out, like, oh, you should listen to this guy, they're acting like he didn't lie to all of us and then go and murder 1 million innocent people in our name after lying to us about why we have to do it. And the only reason to do it was to make him and his dad and Dick Cheney and his daughter super fucking rich. That was the whole purpose of it. And now the guy walks around like, oh, you should listen to what I'm telling you. How is that possible? I don't understand. I mean, I understand, but it's not right. I can tell you that for sure. So, I don't know. Should we play another video? I'm doing my best here, people. I am holding up my end of the deal. I come here prepared. I have good dialogue. I'm taking phone calls. I'm taking dabs. This is Dabs for Donations Friday, right? So I'm holding up my end of the deal. That's all I'm saying. In fact, I held up my end of the deal night after night. When I show up at 7 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday, prepared with many topical videos for us all to, discuss and give our opinions about. But when I get no calls, the opinion tends to be overwhelmingly my opinion. And that's not what Mox News has ever been about. So, if you want to see how fucked up we can get the stoner hippie guy, there are clickable links in the text body of this video, or you can go to moxnews.com, and also there's clickable links in the chat of this video. So, and I wouldn't ask if I didn't need it, if there wasn't if I was sitting on a big fat stack of Bitcoins, there'd be no point in me trying to ask for donations from people who, kind, generous people like yourself. So But it is Dabs for Donation Friday, an extra special day. So if you would like to give a donation, I would be more than happy to do a dab in your honor. Until then, I think we should watch this video about disrespect of police and where that's leading our country. Don't you think we should watch that video? I'm going to put it on. I'll be back in just a second. Hopefully I'll have a big fat dab, a donation so I can take another big fat dab. Don't you guys want to see how fucked up we can get the stoner hippie guy? I'm sorry, liberal hippie douchebag guy? And thanks so much for comparing the thumbnail of my video and the title of my video to South Park, or saying that it makes you think of South Park. I can't imagine higher honor than that. So I really appreciate you saying that. Okay, so, and I thought the title of the video was pretty darn funny, don't you guys think? I mean, we haven't even had the chance to talk about Uranus yet. And the thing is, I can't find anything on Uranus. I've looked and looked and looked, and I can't find anything on Uranus. I looked from 2 a.m. until 6 p.m. tonight, last night, this morning, tonight, 2 a.m. to 6 p.m., and I can't find shit on Uranus. So I just wanted you guys to know, I thought it was a very interesting, story that I can't find anywhere, and I thought it was, probably be entertaining to you. So I just wanted to let you know that scientists have found X-rays coming from Uranus, and and I thought it was a pretty good thumbnail too. I couldn't actually find a thumbnail of Uranus, so I excuse me. I just had to go with the Bahamas for a second. I couldn't actually find a thumbnail of Uranus, so I took a thumbnail of a black hole, of a black hole instead. I gotta have a break. I wish I had a story about Uranus for you, but I just couldn't find shit on Uranus. I looked and looked and there was nothing on Uranus anymore.
Just about all last year, protests and rioting against police. Mainstream media thought all of this was just grand, the Black Lives Matter movement. But have you noticed over the past several weeks, months, we've seen, I believe, an uptick in mass shootings. That's when 4 more people are shot or killed at the same time. And we're seeing more of these things. Boulder, Atlanta, and now in California. This was today, 4 people killed. I'm sorry, yesterday. Orange, California, 4 people killed, including a 9-year-old boy. Could it be that the violence we're seeing can be associated with what happened all last year? Really encouraged, I think, a total lack of respect for law enforcement and society in general. couple of issues I want to go over, including this one with Mark Morgan, former acting commissioner of the Customs and Border Patrol, visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Welcome back. David Bossie, president, Citizens United, and senior advisor to Trump 2020. Welcome, gentlemen. Mark, first to you. Does that sound crazy? We have seen, it seems like, anecdotally at least, more mass shootings. I wonder if the case can be made that it could be associated with the lawlessness that pervaded basically all last year.
No, so look, I don't think that's hyperbole, Greg, and we've talked about this before. I go back to, I know this probably is a little corny, but I think the basic principles of any civilized society is the rule of law. And I think it doesn't get real complicated. If you allow people to violate the law, if you don't support and enforce the rule of law, it only begets more lawlessness. It's just like immigration. If you allow and support and facilitate illegal immigration, you're just going to beget more illegal immigration. So no, I think that you're spot on. And this is something that we really should be having and driving meaningful dialogue. Look, you could also talk about the increase in violence across major metropolitan cities throughout this country as well.
You know, Donald Trump once joked and called the coronavirus Kung flu. He said it at a rally. It was a joke. And they're trying to say that Donald Trump, and by the way, we looked it up, David Bossie, that's about the most controversial thing he said in our book regarding the coronavirus. It's totally normal to call something after the country where it originated or the region where it originated. David, it's kind of absurd that they make that case against Donald Trump, yet very few are making the case that Mark and I just talked about.
Well, first of all, I just think we have to look at this violence and put it in perspective to the coronavirus. I think we're not talking enough about what's going on with mental illness around the country and why maybe these things are happening when we have locked everyone up across America for the last year. You know, Greg, it's important to note that suicides are up, depression is up, kids being out of school, the stress on everyone. And I don't know why each one of these people, especially, in California yesterday, we had Colorado last week. And of course, Colorado, it turns out he's a Syrian Muslim, and the mainstream media goes absolutely silent about that. And so they're not honest with the American people about any of these things, whether it's from coronavirus or an outbreak of what happened last year, as you guys were talking about. I don't know, but it's obviously a terrible thing for our country. But we can't allow these things to ruin every American's Second Amendment right.
You know,
I am so good at this. You see the timing there? Except for I got a donation from Ed. Ed, thank you. Very nice. That means I get to do another dab. Because I'm doing so good right now. And if you'd like to participate, it is Dabs for Donations Friday, which we do every Friday, which means you give a donation and I take a dab in your honor. How much more beautiful could a live stream be than that? You know, I mean, how much more interactive? You know, some people say, oh, thanks so much. I sit here and smoke a big fat puff in your honor. I'm going to do one for Ed here momentarily. If you would like to participate in our little game, see how high we can get the stoner hippie, it's easy to do. There are clickable links in the chat of this video, or you can go to moxnews.com, or there are clickable links in the text body of the video also. How much easier could it get? It should take less than 2 minutes. Like I said, who wants to play? Let's see how high we can get the stoner hippie. And if you didn't see that segment 5 minutes ago, you're missing out. Right? I thought that was pretty good. Oh, excuse me. Let's see. Daniel's back. Oh my God, Daniel. It's so good to see you. Such a high price. Such a high price. Oh, yes, everything is so horrible in the land of Daniel. I know. I know. Anyways, it is a call-in show, so if you guys would like to call, the number is right there on the screen, 805-669-6397, 805 Mox News. And what you're seeing here is it looks like a Coast Guard ship with a large caliber machine gun shooting at a shark that was swimming around a bunch of people. Now, I don't know how this is the way to deal with the shark when there's a bunch of people swimming around shooting a high caliber machine gun, especially towards a ship where there might be, dozens more people. I don't know how that's a good idea. But it seems like that would be the kind of thing that would irritate the shark, right? That's what I get out of that. And not only, how dangerous it is. I mean, it just seems like it would really kind of be like, who the fuck are you, dude? Knock it off. I'm going to go have a snack. Which mostly sharks are not really threatening. I mean, people like to think that they're scary and stuff, like bears are scary and mosquitoes are scary. Oh, the mosquitoes have the West Nile virus. Murder hornets! It's got murder right in the name. It's because everything is presented to you as being scary, because you need to be afraid. It's not like you are the upright walking big brain tippy top of the food chain or anything. You need to be afraid of these things. You need to be terrified from nature. You need to be terrified by nature. Did I mention when I was like 9 years old, I had a black bear eat a Fig Newton cookie out of my mouth? It was a very eye-opening experience. I love that bear. I felt bad though. He's in a very small cage. But I don't know if that was just for show or what. But it seemed like a very nice bear to me. Anyways, I do digress. There is a perfectly good reason why I say police should not be married, and why I believe that wholeheartedly. Now, one of the comic books I used to read when I was younger was Judge Dredd, right? And the judges were cops. They were the enforcers of laws. And all that mattered to them was the enforcement of laws. It didn't matter about a family. It didn't matter about a wife. There wasn't that stuff. That's not allowed. And there's very good reasons for it to be not allowed. Because every time we hear one of these cops say, I feared for my life, as an excuse for murdering someone, as an excuse for shooting Tommy Lay carrying a ballpoint pen. 17-year-old Tommy Lay on his way home, about to graduate high school, carrying a ballpoint pen. I feared for my life. That's why I shot him in the back twice. Again, instantly someone who says, I feared for my life, should be fired from the police. That should be the first thing that happens, okay? Well, then you obviously cannot handle this job, regardless if they killed someone or not. What they're saying is, I can't handle this job, because their job is to run towards the bullets. When everyone else is running away, their job, if they want to be the big heroes that they want us to believe there are, then their job is to run towards the bullets. And when everybody else is running away, because they're the heroes who are going to go in there and take care of business right now and make it stop. What we're seeing more and more is that they have this excuse for why they murdered someone, why they shot him in the back that was carrying a ballpoint pen. I feared for my life. And I think that, having children, having a wife, might make you fear for your life a little more. I mean, I don't have children. I don't have a wife. It's like I say all the time that I'm not long for this world. And it's not because I'm looking forward to something or, anything like that. It's that I'm just not that attached. I love the earth. I love the nature. I love water. I love the animals. But I don't much care for culture at this time on the planet. It seems dehumanizing in so many ways, and again, the way I see things is that we are the upright walking, big brain, tippy top of the food chain. Anything you can imagine, you should be able to make happen. And instead, we're suppressed. No one's taught that. No one says, here's what you can make happen. Anything you can imagine. No one's teaching people that. And that's what the facts are. No one's even teaching you that you are the upright walking, big brain, tippy top of the food chain. No one's even saying that. Ever. And you know why? Because they don't want you to think that way. They don't want you to have that strength. They don't want you to realize, you're smart enough to think for yourself. You don't need someone to tell you if you can or can't smoke marijuana or whatever it is else that you want to do. You don't need for someone to give you permission for that. You're not looking for trouble. You're not trying to hurt anyone, but you're babysat 24/7. Not just babysat, you're spied on. Spied on your cell phone, spied on by your remote control. Remember? Oh, now they're listening. Not before I push the button, but now they're listening, right? Not before I push the button. We wouldn't do that to you. Alexa, whatever the other things are named. You're spied on 24/7. And it's because you're a threat. And and that's the main reason that you're spied on. I mean, there's commercial reasons also. That's big business. But what gave them the permission to do it in the first place is because every single one of you is considered a threat. And with good reason why. I'm not saying something negative about you now. You're considered a threat with good reason. The reason being that you are the upright walking tippy top of the food chain who can make anything happen that you can't imagine, almost. That's who you are. So you're a danger. You're definitely a danger. Not that you are, but that's the way they're going to perceive all of us forever. Because they know if you were programmed correctly, you really actually are strong enough to be a huge danger to us all, depending on what it is you want to make happen. But what I'm really talking about when I say us all is all the politicians. Because, I don't want you to look at your neighbors like somehow they're a danger. I want us all to recognize a common enemy. I want us all to be able to realize that we are the upright walking, big brain, tippy top of the food chain, and we can make whatever happen that we can imagine if we just have the right support, if we have the support of our neighbors, if we can recognize the common enemy, then we can put them in prison forever. Hello, caller.
Hello, Moxie.
What's up, G?
What's up? It's your boy, or I should say, what up, though? It's your boy, Big Baby Zubas.
Hey, Zebas.
Hey, what's happening?
I am just doing this thing that I do. What's happening with you?
No, nothing much. I just got done watching Graham Elwood. It took me so long to call. He's a cool dude. I bought a t-shirt off of him once, and man, he's a cool motherfucker. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Right on.
Yeah. I would party with that dude. Even though that dude doesn't smoke weed, I would party with that dude.
That makes it a little difficult for me.
No, I understand, but hey, if we got to go to 7-Eleven for some lunches, we know who's BD.
So you doing homework, or you got the week off for vacation, or what's going on?
No, I'm doing homework and do some more after this call. But yeah, I'm trying to finish up this report we have to put together, and then I got to do another assessment rough draft. And Tuesday, I got another assessment for a different assignment, and that's the final, so I got to make sure that's finished by Tuesday. But I got some time off. But on Sunday morning, Easter morning, I got a part. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. Got a party coming up, because we finally started doing things again. We got 500 people coming to Sunday.
Nice.
Crap, So
that sounds
awesome.
awesome.
A lot of bacon. I had to lay down 900 pieces of bacon today, so that was fun.
That takes a minute.
Yeah, it took a couple hours. Jeez, I went to lunch and I was only halfway done. But that's because it's ridiculous, especially when the bacon starts getting not cold anymore, and then it's like, God, this is a pain in the ass. Lays all that. Well, it's not that, It felt not bad, Kind of sucked because it was like, oh, I'm actually working again. This kind of sucks, but it felt good to actually do stuff again,
It's good to keep busy, whatever it is, however you decide that should be. It's good to keep busy for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm hopefully I'm going to try and decide on doing something else because I'm going to start looking for another gig soon. Since they're moving or whatever, the place I work at. So it was a good time to find another gig. I'm going to try and get something somewhere, hopefully.
I'm sure you can not. You won't have a problem. Everybody's going to be hiring real soon.
Oh, yeah, everybody already is. Yeah, I've seen not hiring signs everywhere. It's just the fast food joints, and I'm not gonna stoop to that level. I promise myself no fast food joints ever.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, you're way too smart for that shit. Not that the people who work there aren't, but you should be able to recognize again that you have.
I'm more talented than that.
Well, yeah, you have what is it they call a set of special skills.
I have a set of special skills, and I will make sure to use them very quickly. Sorry. My Liam Neeson's all right. It used to be a lot better. Same with my Trump voice. My Trump impression's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. This is the best. This is the best fight stick I've ever looked at in my life. I've never seen a fight stick this beautiful. It looks like it can play all the Street Fighters at the same time. It's beautiful. I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's not bad. I used to do Yogi the Bear. There's Yogi the Bear is like what's he say? He says, "Let's go steal that picnic basket, boo boo." I don't think Mr. Ranger's gonna like that, Yogi. Well then, fuck the Ranger, boo boo.
That's really good, actually. That's really good. The boo-boo one's better than the Yogi, I'm not gonna lie.
I love cartoons. I've always loved cartoons, and it's I'm sure that I used to do other cartoon characters. I'm not very good at imitations anymore. I think I used to be pretty good at it, but I don't know what happened. I think I spent a lot of time away from media. Like I lived in Tahoe and in Maui for like about 10 years, 6 years, and I just we were outside all the time, and there was just places to go and parties to be at. And then when I moved to Seattle, it was just kind of pretty much nonstop party 24/7 for the first 3 or 4 years that I lived here, and
crap, man.
And so there wasn't a lot of media that I was getting in. I think that might have something to do with why I don't do imitations anymore. It's weird. I think I was pretty good at it before. I don't really remember being good at it, but it seems like I like being funny, and it seems like one of those things like you're like when you do Trump is fucking hilarious,
Yeah, everybody loves impressions. It's just not everybody's. What the hell's that guy? Trey Caliendo or Mike McRae or whatever.
There's been a bunch of them over the years.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
Rich Little. When I was a kid, Rich Little, he could do like everybody.
I think I remember that guy. Yeah, Richie Little. Yeah, he used to do a lot of impressions too. I think that's the guy got me into impressions when I was a kid. I used to love comedy. Back when Comedy Central was about comedy and not about like pushing the bullshit narrative or whatever.
I got no idea what it's about other than South Park now.
I mean, yeah, same here. I haven't watched like regular television in a long time.
Yeah, I think
outside of like my sports and my. Well, I used to watch the wrestling, but I even gave up on that because I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and fucking watch 5-6 hours of wrestling every week, just because it's all right. But then after a while, it's like, okay, it's the same shit, I get it. This guy is mad at the other guy, and he's gonna take it out on the chair there. And anyways.
Speaking of which, I watched a movie last night called 14 Blades. It's a Donnie Yen movie. Donnie Yen, I believe he has like the fastest hands in the world right now, at least on the silver screen. And I love that movie. I've been trying to find that movie for like a couple of months, and I would look at this trailer, and I'd see 14 Blades sitting there, and I would go, it's not that one. I know it's not that one. And finally I put it, because I remember a couple of scenes from the movie, and I was like, fuck, I want to see that movie. I didn't actually, I thought it was a Donnie Yen movie, but I couldn't find it because I thought it wasn't 14 Blades. But if you haven't seen 14 Blades, I think if I was to meet Donnie Yen, I think I'd be like, I love that movie, dude.
14 Blades.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I did when I met Wilt Chamberlain when I was working at Harrah's in Lake Tahoe. I met Wilt Chamberlain, and I shook his hand, and his hand was just like wrapped around my hand. It was like I shook his hand. And I just wanted to let you know, Mr. Chamberlain, I really enjoyed your work in Conan, because he was in Conan with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was like this sidekick. Yeah, so it wasn't like no basketball shit, no sports shit. I really enjoyed your work in Conan. That must have cracked him up.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there are a lot of sports people that are actors. Like, you ever seen the movie Blazing Saddles?
What is it?
Blazing Saddles, that Mel Brooks movie.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, they had. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember his damn name now. Can't remember off the top of my head. But
Mongo?
This guy, Mongo guy.
Alec Karras. I think his name is Alec Karras.
Yeah, Alex Karras. Yeah, you know him.
Yeah, I know a lot of things.
Well, yeah, obviously. You know about the offensive line of the Detroit Lions from the 1970s, so that's good.
No, I don't know about that, but I know that Alec Karras. I know that Alec Karras was a big figure in that movie, and that Mongo liked candy, and that he was he's a big old jock.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. He's a big old jock guy who played football for years.
Yeah.
Whole big part of the curse of Bobby Lane and everything. It's all intertwined and stuff. I could go on all day about the curse. But anyways, yeah, that movie was really good though. That one part is like Mongo only pause.
Mongo like candy. It's a great movie.
Like candy. Boom! Yeah, beautiful movie.
Yeah.
I was watching people react to it, and this is so funny. Like when he first shows up as sheriff, and I'm like, I remember that scene, and I was thinking, this is crazy.
He says he's walking up to the stage, and he's like, "Excuse me while I whip this out." So, he's reaching to get his speech. Yeah, and that's why you hear me say when I'm going to grab the bong all the time, I say, "Excuse me while I whip this out." It's a line from that movie.
Yeah, every time you say it, you remind me of that damn movie. It's so good, though. It's so because it teaches so many good lessons, and you don't realize it until after you watch the movie and you think about it.
So many good.
That's a good thing.
So so many good lessons, right? Okay, so Mel Brooks comes out from behind the curtain with his secretary, right? He's got his pants down around his ankles. Yeah, and they want him to sign a contract, and he signs the contract, and then he's trying to put the pen back into the spot where the pen goes. And Harvey Korman says, "Pretend it has hair around it," and he goes, "Boom."
Yeah, he misses the left.
Pretend it has hair around it. Boom. Yeah, that's a lesson. That's a lesson. That's a lesson I never forgot.
Yeah, he got an A+ for it. I like that one part in the same scene where he's like about to sign it. He's got the secretary with like the freaking the world's largest amount of cleavage you've ever seen in the movie, apparently. But and he's like about to sign. He's like, "Hello, girls, I'll see you in a little bit." And then he signed it. I was like, "That's funny." That just seems like every corrupt government official, more worried about boobies than they are about politics.
Well, man has got to have priorities. Come on.
You know what? You got a point there. That's like the Family Guy part where like Peter's a lobbyist for the tobacco industry is like, all right, I'll go to a strip club and talk about this bill.
Well, that they do that though, right? I mean, they go, let's go have lunch, and that means let's go get 4 martinis and get fucked up and see what kind of trouble. Do some cocaine so we can come back and go to work and blah. I mean, it's just disgusting. Yeah. Meanwhile, they're busting people who have a joint in their pocket
for a quick hour and come back and let's write this bill. Okay, great.
All on the taxpayer's dime.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of that one part where the guy, the one senator guy kills the hooker. He's like, I don't know why, I don't know where that thing why the hot dog went in her mouth. I don't know why it didn't come out. But you know what didn't kill her? Smoking. Like, all right, Mr. Griffin, you have your bill. That's DC in a nutshell right there. If you could smooth talk the senator who's in a compromised position, what do you know? You can get things passed.
Yeah, I mean, it's look, what I'm saying about like this Matt Gaetz thing is that they have this kind of information on every single member of Congress. Like I said, they're spying on your fucking 12-year-old daughters, and these people are the scum of the earth. They get away. They think they get away with everything, but they're being spied on just as much. And the shit about Matt Gaetz is all about him fucking getting up on Liz Cheney's ass and starting to talk about what a piece of shit Liz Cheney is and how Wyoming deserves better. And that's not allowed. That's not allowed.
Yeah, they can't let their warmonger puppets get obliterated for being warmonger puppets. They got to find some bullshit and destroy Matt Gaetz' ass over this, so that way he can stop holding power to account. Instead of, conceding to the powers that be and allowing the military-industrial complex to continue doing what they do.
I think you're giving Matt Gaetz a little bit too much credit there.
Well, yeah, I guess what it is, Epstein had shit on everybody. He had shit on Clinton and Trump for good reason, so that way they could blackmail anybody.
This is what I'm saying is all of them have these skeletons, and the CIA knows about every single one of them. So and they just keep them in your folder in your skeleton closet until they can use them or until they need to use them, till it's time for you, until you've your usefulness is now no longer needed. So
or you turn your back on what they want to do, or you go against the establishment. Oh, then all this stuff that we found out about you from our illegal spying program. Well, it's going to be used against you now, yay! And they'll be put all over the news.
It's not an illegal spying program. It's an unconstitutional spying program. They passed laws. They passed laws to make it legal. Yeah.
Yeah, they legalized it.
Again, that being who
whatever they want.
That being who our so-called public servants, our representatives. That's who they choose to be. And again, it's a choice, just like, Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden helping George Bush go to war in Iraq. They chose to do that. It's not like they were forced to do it. They could have spoken out. They had one of the loudest microphones in the world. You know, they could have spoken out and said, this is all bullshit, and I'm going to do everything in my power to stop it. And a whole bunch of people would have got behind them. But instead, they chose the other path.
If Hillary Clinton had fought against the Iraq War, she might be president. She might have been president. This might have been her second term. But she made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
That is true, Nazi.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that part about it. But yeah, she might have been president because she would have actually been a strong leader instead of just a fall in line, goose stepper.
Instead of being part of the big club that we're not in.
I don't want to be in it. I don't want to be in
I don't
that
want to be part of the big club either. It's going to make you do some fucking crazy shit, some wicked, evil things that I don't ever want to do.
Yeah, I don't mind looking at it from the edge of it from time to time, because it's I don't want to say it's fascinating, but it's interesting to see how people act, And I mean, I was talking earlier about going to this billionaire's house for parties and stuff, and I took Craig there for like 4 or 5 parties, and we took a whole bunch of other people there, which I think helped wear out our welcome, but and other stuff. But Craig was like, oh my God, these people are doing this, they're doing these drugs, and there's naked people over there, and there's like, I'm just like, yeah.
Billionaire's life.
Well, it's not just that. It's just like, to me, that's how kind of everybody is. They're doing drugs over there, and they're partying over here, and there's a naked chick over there. I mean, that's life to me, and it's just weird that somebody would be like, oh my God. Look how these people act. It's like they act like they're just normal people. I mean, they're not acting like they're normal people. One of the naked girls has fucking sushi all over her, and they're acting. So they're not acting like normal people. They're acting like fucking weirdo. Let's make naked girls into furniture people, because that's a fucking weirdo fetish if I ever seen one.
Yeah, some BDSM stuff there, but I get it, As long as they don't go full like, hey, let's make a cake out of a woman so we can, try to like push ourselves toward cannibalism. That shit gets weird, man. I can't do that. I can't do people.
I didn't see any cannibalism. I just see a lot of drugs. A bunch of naked people.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
have
like any other party, Yeah,
you gotta have some chick get a bunch of drugs.
Like I said too, I don't really interject myself into it. I kind of just stay on the outer fringe and observe. I don't really want to hobnob with the hoi polloi.
I get you. I get you.
But it's interesting it's interesting to be invited, and then it's interesting to observe how the hoi polloi act, because like I said, to me it's like, at one of those parties I walked up to this girl, right, and I said, "Great party, huh?" Which, whatever, it's just a opening line, right? And she looks at me and she says, "I'm Jewish." And I had no idea what the fuck she's trying to tell me. That's all she said. "I'm Jewish." And I looked at her and I said, "Good luck with that," and walked away. I don't know what it is you're trying to say to me, but good luck with that. It was one of the strangest reactions I've ever had at any party ever. And I've been to a lot of very interesting parties.
That is an interesting reaction. I'll be like, oh, good, because I'm into Jewish chicks.
That's what I should have said, huh? I love Jewish pussy. I love Jewish pussy.
I love Jewish chicks. Ah! Remember when you ever see that movie Spaceball? Another great movie. Remember when they were making fun of Jewish princesses? They were like, they changed it to Druidia.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, great, a Jewish princess. And John Candy goes, funny. He doesn't look Jewish. I was like, that's good. That's good Mel Brooks comedy right there. You just don't see right.
Mel Brooks is really great. I mean, he's made so many movies. I could never get tired of Young Frankenstein, you know.
Yeah, Young Frankenstein is another beautiful movie. I mean, the fact that he did it all black and white was a really good way to stay true to the form of what he was going for. And then the jokes are great. Like, oh man, the one where the Frankenstein makes the bride of Frankenstein after banging her and her hair fucking fizzles out. Oh, that's why she had to walk it like that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love how every time they say Frau Blucher, all the horses like cry out. Frau Blucher. Yeah. I love that part. It's just that, I mean, he's made so many good movies, and I'm a big fan of Terry Garr. You know, Terry Garr to me was one of the sexiest women ever on the silver screen. So
she was really good. Yeah. She did a bunch of movies with them too. She was in Saddles as well.
She was.
Yeah. Is that the? Oh man, I'm gonna look that up on IMDb after this. I'll make sure.
Are you thinking of Madeline Kahn? Madeline.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
Madeline Kahn.
Yeah.
She's also in that movie in Blazing Saddles. She was incredibly sexy.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah, that was good. I like that part where she does it with the sheriff, and then afterwards she's like, "Please stay one more time." Like, baby, I'm not from Havana. I don't get the joke, but that sounds fun.
It is. It was.
Even though I don't get the joke, it's funny.
It's you know what I mean, I really love her in that movie. She made up so many great movies, like you said. Yeah, she was amazing.
You ever seen the Dracula movie that Mel Brooks made? With Leslie Nielsen?
With who?
With Leslie Nielsen with Dracula?
What was it called?
I think it was called Dracula. Let me make sure. Mel Brooks Dracula. Dracula Dead and Loving It, 1995.
It sounds really familiar. I may have seen it, but I can't recall it.
Yeah, that was great. And then like when the best part is when Mel Brooks is in his own movies. That was back when directors would just insert themselves in movies, but he was so good at doing it.
Yeah.
It just became part of the Mel Brooks movie experience was seeing Mel Brooks as a character. I think that's why Stan Lee did.
Yeah, it's a lot like what Stan Lee did.
Stan Lee saw Mel Brooks do that when that's pretty cool.
Well, Stan Lee, I think Stan Lee, like coming in like with all the superheroes or whatever, and being like, you know, some. I don't know, some sex pod or whatever it was, you know. I mean, he I think he's very underappreciated, and maybe he felt like this might be a way where people might connect him more to, you know, all these different things that he created, he had a hand in creating, you know.
That's a really interesting way to look at that.
But yeah, again, if you haven't seen 14 Blades, I don't know how we went from 14 Blades to fucking Stan Lee, but
the Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Yeah.
Stan Lee, yeah. That's just how it is. It's how much you like movies.
Yeah.
No,
the 14 Blades though. The 14 Blades is
14 Blades.
If you I mean, I love that movie, man. I love that movie. So
have you ever heard of 2010 14 Blades?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Daniel Lee starring Donnie Yen and Zhao Wei, Sammo Hung. Oh, that might be interesting. I'll have to ask my dad.
It's really, I love it. Like I said, I've been looking for it for months, and it wasn't 14 Blades I was looking for. It's like scenes from this movie that I was like, oh man, I gotta see that again. It was so good, and I couldn't figure out what the title was, but I was sure it wasn't 14 Blades. And then I finally watched it last night, and I was like, oh, this is the fucking movie.
This is that fucking movie. I do it all the time. You know, I've done that a couple times before, where I thought one movie was had a different title with it. So you know, he ain't the only one to do that. don't worry about it. But
No, I don't.
man,
I'm not
this
worried
is
about it. I'm
interesting.
very happy that I found the movie and very happy that I can share it with other people. If you're interested,
Yeah,
if
well,
you're
you
looking
shared it
for a
with
movie
me,
for the
so.
weekend, that's all I'm saying. If you're looking for a movie for the weekend, I really enjoyed this one last night. Oh, and the night before, I was talking about Hardcore Henry. Have you seen that movie?
Hardcore Henry.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of it, but
Oh, dude. Hardcore. Okay, so you know how at the beginning of the movie it says warning, it says nudity, violence, drug use, stuff like that. This one had this one had a warning that I'd never seen before. It said warning, non-stop bloody violence. I was like, holy shit. I didn't even know they had a warning like that. Because it was on Netflix and it was like the standard warning. I was like, I have never seen.
Got their own warning system.
I watch a lot of movies. I never have seen that one. Warning, nonstop, bloody violence. I've never seen that one before. But if you haven't seen Hardcore Henry, it's the only movie I've ever seen like it. The entire thing is shot first person out of Henry's eyes. So you see the entire fucking movie. It's nonstop bloody violence, and you see the entire movie out of this one person's eyes, like you're the one experiencing. I fucking love that movie too, but it's a little bit overwhelming if you're trying to relax. It might not be the one to relax to.
All right, let's see this. Okay, yeah. From 2015.
Yeah, watch the fucking watch the trailer on that one, dude. There's this scene where they're in a fucking sidecar motorcycle, and Henry's got a fucking like a Gatling gun, like one of those ones where the fucking shit just spins so fast, you know, and it's two-handle and it shoots like 1,000 rounds a minute or something, and they're in this fucking motorcycle, and there's like vans up in front of them, and he literally is cutting the vans in half with his fucking machine gun. And then he starts dropping grenades on him and shit. I love that movie.
Huh. Yeah, it looks really interesting. Definitely.
What I'm saying is I've never seen a movie shot like this. It's all shot first person, so you're seeing the entire movie through Henry's eyes.
They use GoPro. That's smart.
Yeah.
So the entire movie was done with a GoPro camera. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I wonder why it's so cheap. Reminds me of, you ever seen the Doom movie?
Yeah. Which one? Which one?
And they have
a
the one with the Rock in it.
With The Rock?
Yeah, the Rock.
No, I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen it? Oh my God! It's like the corniest one. You watch like the whole movie the first time through just to get the storyline and bullshit, but towards the end there's this really good first-person shooter sequence. I feel like I bet you that movie probably took some. The Hardcore Henry movie might have taken some artistical expressions from, I guess.
Huh.
Because this was like the first time I've ever seen a first-person angle. Because it was,
Yeah.
you know, it was based off a first-person shooter game.
Yeah.
So they decided towards the end when all the other people are never.
Oh, you said Doom. I thought you said Dune. You said Doom.
Yeah, no, not
Yeah.
DOOM with The Rock.
Yeah. Okay. You recommend that
towards
movie?
the end.
It has horrible ratings. I see it, but it has horrible ratings, and I'm like, I'm not gonna.
It's like cheesy. It's like really
Yeah.
cheesy. Like, if
Right.
anything, if you don't like the story,
Yeah.
just skip to the first person part, watch that, and then just it.
Uh-huh.
Because that's like the only really good part.
Uh-huh.
Like the storyline, is
Yeah, it's a pretty cool storyline. I mean, normally it's a pretty cool storyline, right? It's a very popular video game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really popular video game. I mean, the video games have been wildly successful. It's just it just didn't live up to the standards, I guess you could say. But there was a lot of high expectations on that movie. People were expecting that movie for a good decade before it finally did get released. So, you know, and then by then, video game movies didn't really have because of the Mortal Kombat movie and a lot of other movies that came out in the 90s, people looked at video game movies at that time as like, maybe not, you know. A lot of people were more skeptical of it than they are nowadays, like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. People kind of skeptical of that too. So it's hard to take what, a very interactive platform like video games and put it onto something that isn't interactive, like a movie where you have to watch the story. But when your storyline is here's a bunch of guns, go shoot the demons, it's kind of hard to write like 2 hours of story. But I get what
I don't think it's that hard to write. I don't think it's that hard. If you want to watch stories about demon hunters, you want to watch Chinese fucking movies because they have the best demon hunter movies, right? They've been writing this shit for thousands of years, so they know how to write a fucking demon hunter movie. Okay, so.
Yeah, if they go to the Japanese, they've been fighting demons and not dragons, but demons.
Yeah.
Demons.
Yeah, I don't see.
All kinds of demons.
I don't. There's something about the Japanese. I don't particularly care for the Japanese movies. It almost doesn't matter if it's set in the 70s or it's set in the 1600s or the 1000 BC. I just don't. There's something. There's. The way the Chinese story tell, that's the reason people ask me why I watch Chinese movies. And it's because there's something about their storytelling that's different. And I really like the way they do it. I can't explain it, It just there's something different about their storytelling. I'll tell you what, though, about Japanese movies. If you want to find the toughest gangsters in any fucking movies, it's the Japanese gangsters. Okay, they are not to be messed with because they consider themselves already dead. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't fuck with Yakuza. They actually made a series of games about the Japanese game called Yakuza. It's made by Sega. I haven't played any of them, but they look really interesting. They got a bit of a storyline as well. Interesting games. Might make for an interesting movie one day. Who knows? But I kind of get what you mean. I kind of feel like that with Japanese culture. Like I really enjoy like the way that they tell stories in some Japanese movies. Not all of them, but my favorite Japanese movie of all time has to be Battle Royale. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, Battle Royale. That's the one with the collars, right?
Yeah, collars.
Yeah, I saw that on the big screen. It's okay.
Really? Wow.
It's the one to watch, in my opinion, is Dead or Alive. That's where you see the Japanese gangsters, and it has like you watch Dead or Alive, which is available on Prime if you have it. You watch Dead or Alive, and if the first 7 minutes of that movie doesn't completely hook you, then don't watch the rest. But I'm telling you, man, that first 7 minutes you're gonna be like, holy fuck, which I played on TV before anybody else had ever seen it.
When you say Dead or Alive, I think of that video game movie where they made,
I like that movie. I like that movie too, actually. Like you're saying, it's really cheesy. It's really cheesy, but it's. I actually like that movie.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's got a decent plot. But when it comes to the Battle Royale movie, that's what I say. I got a little funny joke. While I was watching it with my friends, me and the one friend were like watching it. We're going halfway through the movie, and then like halfway through the movie, this one chick, she's got the sight. And she just goes, why? And cuts the one dude right at the lower extremities, and me and my friend go, ugh! And my other friend goes, wait a minute, you guys went through like 20 minutes of them killing each other, and this is the thing that makes you freak out? Like, yeah. She went for the proverbial jugular here when it comes to dudes, so. Yeah. But yeah, I always thought.
I mean, that's you got to look again. You got to have priorities, and taking care of business is what you got to do as quick as possible when time seconds matter. So that's a good spot to go for. That's a good. Yeah, well, it's not just that. I mean, if it comes down to it, ladies, don't even hesitate to go for that spot. And it's like it's gonna stop whatever you need to stop at least for a second.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially when somebody's doing something wrong, You gotta do what you gotta do to save yourself. Fucking nasty bastards. But yeah, dude. So, it's a crazy movie. And, I'm kind of a big anime fan. That's another reason why I like Japanese stuff.
Oh, yeah, Japanese do some interesting anime. Ninja Scroll?
Well, it used to be, anyway. Anime isn't what it used to be.
You know the movie. You know the movie Ninja Scroll.
Oh, Ninja Scroll.
Ninja Scroll is one of the great anime movies out of Japan, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah. I remember. It's like the name rings a bell, but I can't pick up.
It's kind of an old. It's
late
like
90s, right?
Yeah, 95, something like that.
95, yeah. That's a really old school. That was a good one. That's my era right there, like mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
Really good anime. Then it started getting weird, where it just got where they just started having 200 long episodes and some really stupid storylines.
And penis monsters and
penis monsters and giant boobs in everybody's faces. And it's like, I don't mind boobs, but does it have to be the entire plot of the anime?
Yeah, I kind of like the boobs, but it'd be nice if it'd be nice if the anime was a little bit better. I don't like this kind of anime where the only thing that moves is their lips and their eyes. I can't stand that shit. There's so many fucking cartoons and movies like that. And it's
They
like,
got cheap with the animation.
Yeah.
But
Well, animation is very expensive, so.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's not cheap, but it's gotten. I mean, it's probably cheaper now with the computer technology. It's a lot easier to.
You would think, but I don't. I mean, if you're talking about something for the big screen, I'm sure it's still, or even television. Like, it's incredibly expensive, from what I understand.
So, yeah, probably.
And I think that's why there's not.
Amount of time.
I think that's why there's not more animation on TV.
Yeah, I mean there is, but it's a lot more than it used to be because they actually are able to appeal to the adult market, unlike back in the day when it was a lot harder to appeal animated cartoons and stuff to adults because when you were a kid, back in like the 70s and 80s, they're like, cartoons are just for kids. If you're an adult, you're a freaking idiot for why you like cartoons. But now you got adult-based. You got a cartoons meant for adult-based audience.
You know what though? I don't think it was that way. I don't think it was that way in the 60s or the 70s because they used to start almost every movie off with a Bugs Bunny cartoon, or Roadrunner or whatever it was. It was always pretty much a Warner Brothers cartoon, but sometimes Pink Panther. I don't think that's Warner Brothers, but. What I'm saying is, at that time, it wasn't. I mean, they're not playing this just for the kids. It's because they know that there's actually adult content built into the Bugs Bunny, built into the Daffy Duck. I mean, there's. It's not just for kids, and even more so, kids don't get half of what they're seeing. They just think it's funny and pretty colors and simple shapes and stuff. That's why I like SpongeBob.
That's kind of like the Shrek movie, Like the Shrek movie had a good bit of adult humor.
I love Shrek. I love Shrek. I love Shrek. Shrek was great. Actually, Shrek was the last hand-painted movie by Disney, I think, made ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
the first one. I don't think the second one is hand-painted, but from what I understand, the first one is the last hand-painted movie. By Disney. Hey, I gotta go, babies. I got bong hits I gotta catch up on, man. I owe people fat dabs.
I'm sitting here being the asshole, smoking the bong during our phone call. Oh, jeez, how rude of me. I'm hitting that one for you, dude. That one's for you. I'll do a dab next time. All right. All right. I'll hit you up, and I gotta donate to you. I'll donate to you real soon.
Okay.
I gotta really do that.
Okay.
I think I did that. Did you get that from last week? Did you see the one?
Oh, last weekend?
Yeah,
$25? 25 bucks?
Yeah, I sent you $25.
Yeah, thanks very much. I did it on Monday. I did a dab for the person who sent me the $25 Bitcoin donation. In case you're wondering.
Yeah, I don't like to put my name in it, but I like you to know. I put some Detroit reference in there. So
cool.
So if it's something related, if I mention something about Detroit in the message, you know who it is.
Okay, Z, it's good to hear from you, bro. I hope you get some time off soon.
Yeah, I will in May, and then we'll have a lot more fun, and then I'll talk about some of the episodes of the long rips and book quotes.
Yeah. Watch
All
that.
right.
Watch that 14 Blades movie. Let me know if you think it's any good. Because
I'll watch 14 Blades.
Yeah, it doesn't have a real high rating either, but I think it's I love that movie, dude. All right, it's good to hear from you, Z.
Cool.
Talk to you soon.
Yep. Will do. All right, see you later, Moxie.
Okay, so I need to heat up the bong. I'm going to do it right now in front of everybody. So you might want to follow me and do exactly as you see. But because I got to catch up, I owe Ed a fat dab, and I owe JC a fat dab, and I'm running out of videos. I already did the Matt Gaetz one, right? So you guys need, if you haven't yet, you need to look up Matt Gaetz and Butthead, you know, from Beavis and Butthead. Matt Gaetz and Butthead. And you go, man, I can't believe this guy is banging 17-year-olds. There's no fucking way. Because he must try to look like that, right? If you haven't seen it, it'll crack you up. Crack me up anyway. But I'm always looking for something to make me laugh. Because as I've told you in the past, that is one of the part of the contract when you sign to come here to Earth, right? You have to sign a contract that says, okay, you can afford to do this and this and this, you know, but you can't do these things, you know. But anyways, part of the contract is that there will always be something right in front of you to enjoy. And that there's, in almost pretty much every single situation, there's humor to be found if you're looking for it. Which, you know, you don't want to be looking for in every situation, but that doesn't mean it's not there to be found. So, I find humor in Uranus. I don't know why I find so much humor in Uranus, but for whatever reason, it cracks me up. At least when I was talking before, it was cracking me up. All right, this one's for Ed. Hey, Ed, thank you very much. It's very nice of you. All right, so I have a couple videos left for you guys, and I'm going to have to go heat up my tea so I can get a little drink of tea, and then have a nice fat dab for JC. So I will be right back, and I'm telling you, I've been telling you for a while, the COVID passport is a real thing. And it's coming your way fast.
A cross-party group of more than 70 British MPs have warned about the introduction of vaccine passports in England. The UK government is reported to be considering a trial of the scheme, which means people would have to show proof of having had a COVID vaccine before being allowed into some venues, including pubs and concerts. In other developments, campaigners representing care home residents in England have started a legal challenge against the government over guidance which has banned people over 65 leaving their homes for visits outside. Care providers have warned these trips may risk the spread of the virus. In Scotland, the easing of lockdown continues. After 3 months, the stay-at-home order has been lifted for millions of people. The Scottish Government has advised people to stay local and not to travel outside their area. And ahead of the next easing of the restrictions in England in 10 days' time, pubs are warning that only 2/5 may open when allowed, as many don't have the outdoor areas suitable to serve customers. More on all of that throughout the hour, but first our political correspondent Ian Watson has more on the campaign opposing vaccine passports.
The government wants to reopen the economy fully by June the 21st in England. It's currently discussing whether proof of vaccination or of a negative test could enable pubs and entertainment venues to open, possibly without the need for social distancing.
When it comes to trying to make sure that we give maximum confidence to business and to customers, and here in the UK, there are three things: is your immunity, whether you've had it before, so whether you've got natural antibodies anyway, whether you've been vaccinated, and then of course whether you've had a test. And so those three things working together will, I think, be useful.
But the idea of vaccination certificates has united long-standing political opponents against them. The former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn and the former Conservative leader Ian Duncan-Smith are amongst 70 cross-party politicians who campaigned together to oppose them, calling them discriminatory and divisive. Downing Street says no final decision has been made on their use, and the government described reports that they could be trialled in theatres and sports grounds as speculation. But on Easter Monday, the Prime Minister will have some decisions to announce. He's likely to confirm that restrictions will be eased further in England on April the 12th, allowing beer gardens to reopen, as well as non-essential shops. And he'll announce the results of his global travel task force. This will set out how foreign travel can resume. Countries are likely to be categorised as red, amber and green. Returning from a red list country would require hotel quarantine, amber, home quarantine and green, negative COVID tests. But exactly when foreign travel will get the green light is still up in the air. Ian Watson, BBC News.
Well, our political correspondent Jonathan Blake says ministers are arguing that the introduction of vaccine passports could help as the economy starts to reopen and lockdown restrictions are eased across England.
Now and again, politicians from different parties decide they agree on something and want to do something about it. It doesn't happen often, but it certainly happened here. And it is a really broad alliance, as you say, a kind of libertarian alliance. You've got the former Conservative leader, Ian Duncan-Smith, former Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Ed Davey as well, and a good number of Conservative backbench MPs. They are the ones who have been opposed to the more stringent lockdown measures and restrictions throughout the pandemic. But they've all come together, as you say, along with the campaigns group Big Brother Watch, Liberty, the Joint Council for the Welfare of Immigrants and Privacy International, to sign up to this pledge, which reads that we oppose the divisive and discriminatory use of COVID status certification to deny individuals, they say, access to general services, businesses or jobs. So the concern, I think, shared by all these politicians of varying colours is that it is too much to restrict people's freedoms and liberties once the vaccination programme has continued and rolled out and been offered to all adults eligible in England and around the UK as well. After the pandemic, people have put up with too much, and this is a step too far. Of course, the government argues that it is potentially necessary to keep people safe and may allow parts of the economy to open up sooner than it would have otherwise been able to do so. And speaking at a theatre in Wolverhampton announcing the next round of arts funding, the Culture Secretary Oliver Dowden talked more about what the government might do here.
Michael Gove, the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, is conducting a review, which I'm of course participating in, as to whether we can make a COVID status certification work. So this is not about a vaccine passport, it is about looking at ways of proving that you're COVID secure, whether you've had a test or had the vaccine. Clearly no decisions have been made on that because we have to weigh up different factors, the ethical considerations and so on, but it may be a way of ensuring that you can get more people back doing the things they love and being in fantastic institutions like this.
Culture Secretary Oliver Dowden. When and where then might we see these so-called passports trialled?
Well, there's going to be some pilots in the next couple of months as part of the government's events research programme, which it announced a little while back. So sporting events like the FA Cup, the World Snooker Championship, possibly the Brit Awards as well. These will be used as test events, really, to see how people can get together in large numbers and attend events like that with minimal social distancing in place. As part of that, we were expecting testing to be involved anyway. So people ask for a negative test result on entry and tested again when they leave so that they can be tracked and any contacts that they've had can be traced as well. But there are reports today that COVID certification of some sort may be involved in those pilots as we go later on into the summer. But the key dates, of course, are June the 21st, when all restrictions in England, providing things go according to plan, are expected to be lifted. But there's a bit of a delay until the end of July, which is when the government hopes everyone will have been offered the vaccine that is eligible. So those, I think, are the key weeks in between those two dates where we could see some of this implemented.
Talk to us, Jonathan, about this idea of a sort of traffic light system when it comes to foreign travel.
Yes, foreign travel is a little bit different.
Enough of those guys. Okay, so I'm sorry we haven't spent more time talking about Uranus. I know the video you might have tuned in thinking we were going to talk about Uranus. I wasn't able to find any video about Uranus. Otherwise, I would have been happy to play, video about, scientists discovering X-rays coming from Uranus. But I really wanted you to know about Uranus, even though I couldn't find a video about it. I apologize. That was for you, JC. Thank you very much. But I was hoping someone would call so we could talk about Uranus. Maybe someone does want to talk about Uranus. Hello, caller. Hello?
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 Hello, is this Fox News? I got to make sure I got the right number here.
Are you calling to talk about Uranus?
Yes, Michael. Holy shit. Oh, thank God I got the right number. I tell you what, I've been fucking working on this for like the last 29 minutes. Literally.
You've been working on Uranus?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to fucking tell you guys. Like, we've got a lot of breaking fucking news out here.
I know you travel.
Michael.
I know you travel into space on a regular basis, but I didn't know you go to Uranus.
Dude, I go to my Uranus on a fucking daily basis. It's not my Uranus. I'm talking about your anus. We got to get this shit right here. This is not a joke, kids. All right, this is a legit science project about black holes and shit. And there I go. I said black holes and shit. Okay, I'm trying to be fucking serious here, Michael. This is a fucking serious subject.
I looked and looked and looked and couldn't find shit on you.
Really?
I looked and looked and I could not find shit on Uranus. I'm telling you. I looked again. I looked for hours. I could not find shit.
Well, Michael, I tell you what, those hemorrhoids are fucking huge. So I guarantee that there was probably, like, you were on the surface of Mars. I tell you what, it's red. It's not good. But, Michael.
Uh-huh.
Uranus is a very amazing place.
I prefer you
You know,
don't
in
talk
the
about
universe.
Uranus.
Huh?
Please don't talk about Uranus.
No, I'm talking about Uranus.
No, that's what I'm saying. Don't talk about it. You're talking
Well,
about
mine
shit
or
you know
yours?
nothing about.
Well, how do you know?
Because I know everybody who knows shit about Uranus.
Dude, like, literally. Come on. Like,
literally, I said don't do that.
What? What?
You know nothing about it. Don't talk about nothing you know nothing about.
Well, I know a lot. I fucking
No,
know a
you
lot.
don't.
It's
You
all
don't know.
over the internet. I swear
All
to
right.
fucking God, if you just Google it.
I'm okay, Steve. Thanks for calling.
What?
Huh?
This got disconnected. How fucking hearing? This is what happened. I'm trying to fucking. Damn it.
Oh well. So, that was fucked with my buzz now. All right. Now I got to take another bong hit. All right. Anyways, yes. That's what I heard. I didn't hear it. I was reading about it on the Google, and I was really surprised I couldn't find any video on Uranus because it was all over the Google. They were talking about Uranus nonstop. I was really surprised. I mean, I looked everywhere. I looked, Japanese news. I looked BBC news, hours and hours and hours. U.S. news, Let's see, German news. I looked all over. I couldn't find anything on Uranus. And I really wanted to find something because I looked hard on Uranus. For Uranus. I looked hard for Uranus. Couldn't find it. All right, so I have one more video. And then you can call. So, oh wait, I have this. I'm going to play the white privilege card for you because you know how much I love playing the white privilege card. I can't let a show go without playing the white privilege card.
Trump won the election. Among the suspect's possessions, this is real, a white privilege card. I want you to take a look at this. It's a fake white privilege credit card. Subtitle, Trump's everything. The card holder, scot-free, with 2 T's. Scot-free is actually spelled with 1 T, but, 2 T's on that card. That one piece of evidence, an insight into the man's state of mind, that he can get away with anything because of his skin color. His lawyer saying this to CNN.
I'm going to play the white privilege card on pretty much every show because I love playing the white privilege card. Because you can tell, there's really nothing. I mean, I'm going to play it on every show because I love playing the white privilege card. I'm really surprised Don Lemon doesn't play the white privilege card more often. He seemed to enjoy it too. Wonder how he feels about me playing it. Wonder if he's heard about me playing it. Wonder if he's heard how much I enjoy playing the white privilege card. Because things do get around. Anyways, again, this is going to be your last chance to call or give a donation for a dab. Thanks so much to everybody. Ed and JC and Mr. Miguel and Jake. Thanks so much, you guys. I am going to play... Oh, right, we have one video left.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb. The real sticky icky. Some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am?
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
Let's see. All right. So no one called. I was hoping someone would call so that we could discuss things. Anyways, again, I watched 14 Blades last night and Hardcore Henry a couple days ago, and I highly recommend them both if you haven't seen them. If you're looking for a movie for the weekend, that's all. Otherwise, again, we do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back next Monday, same Mox time, same Mox channel. And remember, it's always better when you're here. That's the facts. I mean, if you're not here, then, you know, I'm just talking to myself. So it's easy to understand that it's always better if you're here. And thanks so much for tuning in. I hope we see you on Monday. Until then, stay cool, because one of these days, this war is going to end. Stay cool till then.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they